Here we go, live. And we're going. All right. Sounds on. Oop. Got to pull this out of the thing there. Okay, we'll put that there. And then take this here. It's watching new discourses. Let's go over to here and that. And we're ready. We are ready. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. We do it live. I'm not sure if anybody's waiting in the chat. I'm Tony D, and this is my sidekick, Joan of Arc. And we will be talking about movies, of course. Movies, box office, and other things. But first, I'll tell you about my week. It was an interesting weekend. Had a bit of a rough weekend, actually. Let's see. What did I do this week, though? I had some events this week. I did, looks like I did 3 different events, and I don't remember, what was that one? Oh, that was the Woodbury Library. Okay, now I remember that. So that was pretty good. And then, what was Wednesday? I don't remember. I did another event on Wednesday, and then Thursday I did the Greenbrier at Woodlands event. That was really good. I got free cupcakes. And they were really into the event. The senior group had gone to Tabernacle to the museum there a few weeks prior, and they had all gotten Jersey Devil shirts. So Tabernacle has a pretty cool Jersey Devil shirt. They're all pretty cool, really, when you get right down to it. I mean, it has a cool Jersey Devil on it all the time. And then Saturday, of course, you probably heard I drove all the way up to Lakewood for the Halloween hullabaloo. Only to find out, well, I'll tell you the whole story real quick. So I was driving up there, and it was raining. But I thought, nah, the weather's saying it's not going to rain. And, you know, sometimes I blow off these shows, and then I find out later it didn't rain. So I said, well, I'll go. And I'm driving up there. I get about halfway up, and I stop, and I go, I should just turn around. It's really raining. But then I said, I'm already halfway. So I went the rest of the way, and I got there. I pull off the exit, and the roads are dry as a bone. Like, dry as a bone. And I'm like, all right, I think we're good. So then I get there, find a spot, start setting up the tent, get the tent all set up, pull the table out, get my sign ready, and then I'm just about to take the books out of the car, and it just comes down. For about, say, half hour straight. Just too much rain. Like, there's a certain amount of rain my tent can handle before I go, this is too much rain. And it was too much rain. So the exhibitor gave me an out, and I said, all right, I'm gonna head out. So I went home, and I said, well, I got Sunday. I got Beers and Fears, they were calling it. Booze and Brews over at 13th Child. And then I get home, and I check my email, and they postponed that to November 2nd is the tentative new date. It hasn't been totally confirmed, but it's probably where it's landing, which is fine. I had a free day that day, but I'm still a little bummed. The whole weekend just, the nor'easter effed me. And then today, it didn't even really rain. So it just started raining a little bit now. We would have been done by now. We would have been wrapping up. So, and quite frankly, as light as it is raining, now they were calling for a nor'easter. I assume that was on the coast. Here it's like drizzling. So, but what are you going to do? So I got shows all this week, and then the big Cranberry Fest, which is huge. So I'll be doing that. And Book 19 coming out soon. We're a little behind, but we should make October. It's probably gonna just come right under the wire. Like, literally Halloween, I'll be uploading the damn thing. But oh, Indie Phantom is here. My review of Spinal Tap 2. Balls. Okay, so when you say balls, what are we talking here? Like, what do you think is the major failing of the movie? Oh, I got a new gadget on this thing. What's this? Engage with your audience. What does this mean? Members only live stream. Oh, I could do a members only live stream now. I hope I didn't just screw that up by hitting that. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Indie Phantom. I only made it through 15 minutes. Wow. Yeah, it looked bad. It looked bad. I mean, those guys are old, but I thought, you know, they're in Hollywood. And they have a certain vitamin that Hollywood actors take. Indie Phantom couldn't handle Meathead. You know, Meathead is hardly in the first one. I mean, he's in it, but the focus is on everybody else. It looked like Meathead was more in the film. Yeah, Meathead has really ruined himself for me. I can't watch Rob Reiner anymore. What a waste of a legacy now. Like, he's the son of Carl Reiner. And Carl Reiner, one of the funniest guys to ever live. And Indie Phantom, Reiner recycles his old persona. Yeah. Yeah, he's the same documentary filmmaker. And so do the other guys. And it's like, they look old. They look tired. Like, for Spinal Tap, you can't look old and tired. I get it. You know, they're supposed to be older, and that's the joke, but like, how many more jokes can you make about the Rolling Stones? Even the Rolling Stones, like, as awesome as they are, they're super old, man. I love them, but, you know, people coming up, they barely know who they are. Indie Phantom, he was in every scene and asking every question. See, that's terrible. He was doing a very obvious pratfall. Rob Reiner was? That's weird for him. He wasn't a pratfall guy. Huh. Those guys are too old to do pratfalls. You break a hip. They're all too old. I don't know what you could have done. I mean, the Hollywood thing would have been to recast at least Rob Reiner. Indie Phantom, one of the band opened a cheese shop, and that was the whole joke. I saw that bit. I mean, like, and they've done this. You know, if you've ever seen the Ruddles, they did it. They did it great. JC, hi. The Ruddles was great. Had some of the old SNL guys on it. And it had a great pacing. And Spinal Tap had a decent pacing. It wasn't as good as the Ruddles, but it was decent. Indie Phantom, yeah, it was like Reiner was now part of the comedy. Yeah, he is not. JC, recasting would have only made it worse. It would have helped. I don't, you know, a bad script's a bad script. You really can't do much for it. But at least injecting some energy into the damn thing. You know, another thing they could, I mean, there's so many things you could have done with a Spinal Tap sequel that would have been great, but it would requires you to really go after the music industry and a bunch of other things. Indie Phantom, Reiner begins his career with Spinal Tap and ends with it. Well, he really begun it with All in the Family as Meathead, but it's a shame. Or you mean the character, maybe. It's, yeah, he wasn't the focus. But again, I mean, Spinal Tap was a parody of rock and roll guys. Rock and roll's so past its prime. The entire music scene is incredibly different. And, you know, who's that movie aimed at? You know, I'm 59. I was around in 84. I saw Spinal Tap. I was 18. I was 18 when I saw that movie. And it was good. I loved it. But, you know, a lot of time has passed. You needed to do that movie when I was in my late 30s, like 20 years later. Like 2004 would have been a perfect time. 20 years later. Indie Phantom, nobody cared about the sequel. Reminds me of the Bill and Ted reunion. Yeah, another one that was too late. Reiner started directing with Spinal Tap. Oh, okay. Yeah, directing wise, I guess that would be true. It's a shame. I mean, before he got super political, I thought, oh, here's a guy. He's worked in comedy. He directed some comedy films, and they seem to be pretty good. Now it's like getting super political, as some of these guys have done, especially the older guys. Like, they're more vulnerable to it than anybody, because comedy is a young man's game to begin with. You add the politics to that, and you suddenly get super serious, and you go on national TV, it ruins you. I don't want to see Rob Reiner anymore doing comedy. He's going to go on MSNBC and yell at people. It doesn't work. I can't compartmentalize that, because he's trying to be taken as a serious political commentator, and he's not. It would be different if he went on MSNBC and made fun of people. He could have had his biases, but if he still did it in a funny way, I could maybe accept it. But he didn't. He's super serious. He was all over Twitter for a time. Indie Phantom. Funny thing is, the first film was about their farewell tour. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and now they're all in their 70s. And, they just look old and tired. They don't have the energy. They need energy. That's what it really comes down to. I don't mind if people are old, if they've got the energy to do the damn comedy. What was McKeon in? I mean, McKeon was in Better Call Saul, which isn't a comedy, but his performance in that is okay. It's pretty good at times. The last comedy I remember him in, he was in one of the Christopher Guest movies, like Best in Show, or one of those movies. Still could hold his own. But Indie Phantom, yeah, just couldn't do it because of Reiner's meathead dumbass. It's a shame. Yeah, it just was 20 years. If they had done it in 2004, you could do it now, right? You could have done it in 2024 or 2004. I don't know what you would have done, but you could have added more to it, and then maybe now would be the time, like another 20 years, and really just push it off a cliff. Indie Phantom. Apparently, the first Spinal Tap was based on the success of a Lenny and Squiggy live album. Yeah. Yeah. Squiggy not being in it for some reason. He was funny, too. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get together. But they did do a live album. And they were funny together. They had some good songs. Yeah, I don't know. Is that guy still alive? I guess he is. I haven't heard that he died. Squiggy. Is Squiggy still alive? JEC will be on it. JEC. I went to a movie premiere this week for a remake of the old Roger Corman straight-to-video fantasy movie, Deathstalker. I talked about that trailer. It was fun. Reminded me of Army of Darkness. Huh. Yeah, trailer didn't set the world on fire, but I don't know. I guess I'd go see it. I want to say Slash helped produce it, I think. Because I think he was a fan of the original. So, worth seeing, huh? Okay, there's something, finally. Will Slash save the movie industry? That would be fun. I mean, better than Taylor Swift doing it. Speaking of, let's get to the movies. Indie Phantom. Speaking of sucking ass, can we stop putting Jared Leto in movies And Jeff Bridges was on Kimmel getting political while acting like the dude. Yeah, that really disappointed me too. The dude is a very funny character. If anything, I would have loved to have seen a sequel with the dude. But yeah, Jeff Bridges, and you're right about Jared Leto. I don't know what's happened to the guy. Like, he just was a regular actor in movies, and now he is the kiss of death. Morbius, the Blade Runner sequel, this, the Suicide Squad. I mean, the list goes on and on. It goes on and on. The last good movie I think he was in Dallas Buyers Club, which is a good movie, I think. JEC, same guy who directed Psycho Goreman. I saw the trailer for that too. Slash did theme song, worth watching on streaming, I'd say. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll have to catch that. But yeah, Jeff Bridges, like, I don't want to see your politics, dude. I get it. Look, he's just too visible. I would love to see, or would have loved to have seen a sequel with the dude and having him solving another mystery and acting like a moron. But what taints it is they come so hard out on politics. And the sad thing is, everybody in Southern California is apparently convinced that this helps their career. It really doesn't. It gets you attention, but it gets you bad attention. Because 50% of the people going to watch you are going to be mad. The other 50% are going to go, yeah! But they were probably on your side. Like Jeff Bridges, before he started getting political, I didn't know what his politics was. I didn't care either way. I was a fan. Now I got to question everything. Now I can't look at him when especially when he does the dude in character and talks about politics. Indie Phantom, Bridges made me sad. He pimped for Kamala too. Yeah. Yeah. That's pimping for a specific candidate. That takes it to another level too. It's like, this is why the old Hollywood stars never did this. They never touched politics or religion. It was a third rail. They knew to stay away. JC, they were trying to ape those direct-to-video schlock movies, so it's hard to say go see it in theater. They were going for a low-budget thing for the home market. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I like those movies. They have a charm to them because they are low-budget. To some extent, I think it forces some amount of creativity, right? You kind of have to come up with innovative ways to do certain things. All right, Joan, your breath is killing me. I gotta put you over here. All right, so sit there. Whew. So yeah, absolutely. I would check out the Deathstalker thing. Now that being said, I have a very low tolerance. Oh, there's LeMay. Hello, LeMay. Talking about Deathstalker. Deathstalker sounds like a thumbs up. Spinal Tap 2, thumbs down to get you caught up. And like Chris Pratt, the rumor is, and it's only a rumor, nobody knows for sure, Chris Pratt, he's religious. He's probably Republican, right? But nobody knows. He's never come out and said anything. He's never endorsed a candidate. Now, some of that is, if he is conservative, he would really hurt his career in Hollywood if he came out that way. He doesn't go to Democratic fundraisers, so that's an indication of his movies. Sometimes he'll do a short video with him and his kid doing something. That's pretty wholesome. Once in a while, it's religious. He posted a picture on Instagram of him and his buddy. They put up a giant crucifix out in the desert. Something his church does, I guess. And I don't have any problem with that. He's not preaching to me. He's not trying to yell at me. Mark Ruffalo, and some of these guys, they're really out of control to get that deep in it, to yell at people. You just alienate fans. And that's just a dumb move as an actor. Hulk, but when you act that way, you make me question, am I going to go see this? It doesn't become the factor, it becomes a factor, right? I got to factor in, is the movie going to be any good? Is it going to be woke? And now I got to worry about Mark Ruffalo signing on only because there was some big allegory about Trump and the immigration and blah, blah, blah. I don't want that in the movie. Because, number one, it's not going to be surprising. Number two, the recent record is just horrific with this stuff. There's no subtlety to it. If you do that kind of stuff, and you can do it, I'm not saying you can't do it, you got to be subtle. You got to be super subtle. If you look back at the old Star Trek, they were doing stuff like that all the time, and people who get political about the current Trek will tell you, oh, they were always political. Yeah, but they were super subtle about it. I mean, super subtle. Indy Phantom, yeah, Bridges was cool, and now he's just part of the brigade. Yeah, he's thrown his lot in with that. Not to mention the fact that Tron 2 was a abomination of a movie. That movie I did see, and it sucked. Now, I looked at the trailer for Tron Ares. It looked cool. I was willing to give it a consideration, but I was definitely going to wait for some reviews to come in. And man, did they come in. Let's check that. Let's check that on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. I'm guessing, place your bets on Tron Ares. I'm guessing this will be, I'm going to say it was actually a 58 when it started. So I'll say like 42. No, it's at 57. So it didn't go down too much. That's almost fresh. That's almost a fresh rating. That's only, I think it has to be 60 for a fresh rating if I'm not mistaken. The fans seem to like it. So, let's see. Is there a way to mess with the score and drop certain ones out? It was visually flashy. It's very noisy. It is utterly empty. One of the most boring experience I've had in a long time. I didn't care about anyone or anything at any point. Yeah, the Critical Drinker did one. He wrecked this movie. All Tron Ares needed to be was a mood, but it delivers existential questions that are pre-chewed pablum rather than searching moral quandaries. Yeah, and Jeff Bridges, not for nothing, is in this movie. So when, on top of the fact, like, he hasn't had a hit in a while, and he's been in a bunch of stuff that just kind of failed, and it seems like he's just collecting a paycheck. Like, that to me, I would call it the Harrison Ford effect, right? Harrison Ford had an amazing track record for a long time. He was in more good stuff than he was bad stuff. And then suddenly, he just said, screw it. I'm going to be in everything. I'm going to be in anything. I apparently don't care about the quality of the script or the story. I'm just going to collect enormous paychecks on my way out. And I think he did. And look how I've never seen anyone obliterate a legacy like Harrison Ford. I never want to see another Harrison Ford movie ever again. I don't care what he's in. I don't care what the role is. Unless it's Harrison Ford's apology to his fans, I don't want to see it. That's how bad he's burned it with me. And he was like, I would see anything with Harrison Ford in it for such a long time. Now, you couldn't pay me to see, even if they tried to fix Blade Runner, Indiana Jones, whatever he's in, I am out. In Jared Leto's defense, I don't know, he was never really all that good in anything. So maybe he's due. But Jesus. And Jeff Bridges is in this. Like, when you take a paycheck for a movie like this, I feel like you know, right? I feel like he got the script, his agent looked at it, you know, he said, and he had to have asked him, what's the script like? And his agent had to say, oh, it's BS, man. It's total BS. But they're paying you, I don't know what. I mean, they had to pay him like an enormous sum of money, right? So when you say yes to that, I got to question everything about you. Because you built your entire career on creativity. You built your entire career on trying to do, you know, Jeff Bridges has been in some really good films. But now, okay, if you want to pull a Harrison Ford on your way out the door, knock yourself out, dude. You know, somebody was suggesting that a lot of this is that the studio executives had kept these guys, these creative guys, under wraps for years. So let me give you an example. I was talking about Batman cartoons in the previous video. And there's a cartoon called Batman the Caped Crusader. And Ham, who does a lot of comments, suggested that they cut loose. They brought the creators of the old Batman animated series back, but this time they said, do whatever you want. And the Caped Crusader, I hear, is like super woke, except for maybe like one episode. And that sort of framing of it made me think for a second, yeah, maybe these guys were always this way, but there was a group of studio execs. You know, I've always thought the suits were the evil guys, right? But maybe there were a group of studio execs sitting on top going, no, you can't do that, man. No, too much politics. Pull it back. And they were able to edit these guys back into something that was entertaining, right? Because now you've got James Gunn apparently burning hit what, you know, good fortune he had on this Peacemaker show. Like, the Peacemaker show sounds just abominable. And the reviews I've seen are just trashing it left and right. So, you know, Superman wasn't any great shakes, and we'll talk about that. But the Peacemaker show was then set up as a sequel to Superman, which was weird, and it just seems like they cut Gunn loose. And I have two theories on it. The first theory is Cosmic Book News reports that there's a rumor that he's already out. James Gunn is out. And they're going to bring back Mike DeLuca, who was involved with the Blade movies. He's been involved with Weapons, a bunch of other hit movies, which would be great, I think. And apparently he loves comics. So they may, here's my theory, they may have said to James Gunn after Superman, because they make these decisions fast and way before we hear about them. So you look back on Superman, the first box office comes in. They already know how much that movie's going to make. Now, the word is the movie made nothing. Like, it lost money. That depends on what the budget is. The initial budget they reported was $225 million for Superman. Based on that and the formula of having to make 2.5 times its budget, that movie needed to make $563 million to break even, and anything above that would be profit. The movie made like 612. That would make it a profit. A small profit for that world, but profit. It would be in the black, and that doesn't even count the toys, which is definitely made them money, I think. I think they didn't lose any money on crypto stuffed animals and things like that. They didn't put out a lot of stuff, but I'm sure they put out some stuff. Now, the new report says the budget could have been $350 million. Now, if you do that math, there's no way that Superman made money. It lost money. And now they're saying because that is true, and it lost money, and Peacemaker had terrible ratings, Gunn is out, DeLuca's in. However, none of that could be true. I believe that the studios play fast and loose with their books. They may be deciding that now we are going to show that Superman has lost money because we want it partly as a tax write-off, but partly because we want to get rid of James Gunn because either they had an opportunity to bring back Mike DeLuca and they wanted him, or they're annoyed by Gunn because it didn't do as well as they thought, and then they knew that back when Superman came out, so they told him on Peacemaker, do whatever you want, you're going to be gone in the next year. And that's maybe why Peacemaker became unglued, because then Gunn was like, well, I might as well do whatever I want because I'm on my way out. And if this thing's a hit on what I do, then they'll have to keep me. If it's not a hit, they're S-canning me anyway. So that would be my theory. But a lot of things hinge on that. Who knows? It could just be, you know, this is all just a rumor. Gunn's going to stay forever. But if DeLuca is coming back, the rumor is he's going to reset the DCU again. Which is like, good luck with that. At that point, you might as well forget it. Indie Phantom, that makes sense to me. I really hope this rumor about going back to Troma is true. Gunn's going to Troma? Well, that would be interesting, considering that really the only hit Troma had was the Toxic Avenger, and that didn't do anything. And I think that was that's another movie from 1984. Shouldn't have remade that. That was a moment in time. All the Troma stuff, like, if you're going to... There's no reason to remake any Troma movies, in my opinion. If you want to do anything, you could bring back Troma, give ridiculously low budgets to filmmakers, and just let them do whatever, and slap it on the screen, and, you know, put it on your streaming service instead of the movie theaters, and then see if any of them hit. I don't think they will, but I mean, it'd be fun. I like those kinds of crazy movies sometimes, but, you know, Gunn going... Did Gunn start in Troma? I don't remember him being in Troma, but it's possible. I guess it's possible. But yeah, this Tron Ares... Oh, man. The effects looks really cool. I mean, it had potential. When I saw the second one, I said, this is it, man. This is done. This is so cooked. But yeah, the pitch of like bringing the programs to the real world had some potential because of those giant, tank. I don't know what they're even called. Indie Phantom. Yeah, didn't make it through the new Toxie either. It was bad. I mean, the old one was bad, but it was bad fun. Not like bad, oh, we're going to make it so bad you'll love it. Yeah, that's really hard to do. These guys, you can't take a guy like Elijah Wood, let's say, and Peter Dinklage. These guys have been A-listers. They've been on giant movies. Now you're going to tell them, oh, we're going to do a low-budget Toxic Avenger movie, and it's going to be amazing. It's not. Because it's not really low budget. It's going to be faux low budget. And you're just going to try to make it weird. The only reason that movie was as funny as it was is because they redubbed the voice of Toxie. And then it turned into a hilarious thing. And then some of the performances were hilarious because they were so bad by non-obvious non-actors. You can't have a real actor do a non-actor thing. It's just not gonna work, in my opinion. Indie Phantom. Gunn started big time in Troma. He wrote Tromeo and Juliet and other stuff. Oh, well, maybe you should go back there. I was kidding about his going back, though. Oh. Yeah, somebody will pick him up. I mean, he might disappear for a while. Who cares? He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure. Let's see. Let's see how much James Gunn is worth. Conservative. Here's Diane Keaton, by the way. I was just curious. She apparently was in the real estate market big time. James Gunn, place your bets. I'm going to say, I'll say 120 million. 70 million. I think that's a little low for him. Indie Phantom. Trauma also got wokish, but the new Toxie isn't even Trauma, really. Elijah Wood thinks he's funny doing some Igor-S. Flick is DEI and woke as hell, too. Wow. That's just dumb. There's no reason for that movie to be woke. Like, none. Why even make it woke? It's supposed to be outrageous. See, you can't be outrageous and be politically incorrect. You can't. It's impossible. Oh, we don't want to offend anybody. Oh, but we're going to do an outrageous movie. Yeah, that's not going to work. You're done. You're cooked. Just hang it up. Don't even waste the money. Just, put the money in your pocket. I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't have to say the N-word every scene, but you have to be open to some possibilities that you're really going to piss off some people. If it's going to be DEI, let's make sure we cast some people of color in the Toxic Avenger. That's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Indie Phantom. Diane Keaton had one of the lowest grossing comedies a couple of years ago. That body swap thing. She almost won a Razzie. Well, apparently she was really into real estate and flipping houses and fairly good at it. Yet she sort of disappeared for a long time and then came roaring back in her old age. And then she was like in everything. She was in, there was this movie where a bunch of old actresses, the plot is they went to summer camp together and they come back after 50 years to go to summer camp again. And, that kind of movie. It was like, oh, it's like old times. And like movies like that. She was in a couple of those. Indie Phantom. I still can't believe they made another Tron. I feel like even the first one was a bummer at the box office. Oh, let's see. I don't think it was. I think it did okay. I loved it. I loved the first Tron. 1982. The gross is 26 million. But how much did it cost? This is 1982. 17 million. So that's not really that great. Wow, look at the international box office. 524. What happened there? So yeah. That sounds like a loss to me. But they did do the video game, and the video game was very popular, and I guess I don't have. Where's the? You're telling me you don't have the video sales. Oh, here it is. Video sales. Looks like another 5 million in video sales. I would put it at 31. That's still not breaking even. I don't know. Maybe it made it up in merchandise. Indie Phantom. It's like how Jane Fonda came back recently. Please, just stay away from movies. Jane Fonda also came back, and at first I thought, oh, this is okay. She's not getting political. And then now she's like, she stepped on the gas. Now she's just like over the top political. Not only is she political, but she restarted the First Amendment Committee. And as soon as I heard the word committee, I said, uh-oh, red flag. What the hell is that? And then I looked into a little bit of it, and it was founded by Henry Fonda back during the, in response to the McCarthy hearings. And then, of course, Razor Fist had just recently done a big video on McCarthy and what was going on at that time, and especially in Hollywood. And then I was watching his stream, and he was saying, Oh yeah, it was rife with comedies. The First Amendment Committee, I think it's called. A lot of the groups during that time were communist front groups for the KGB, and we know that because when the Berlin Wall fell, a few years after that, the KGB archives got opened, and for some reason we got a handle on a bunch of them, and that was some of the stuff that came out of it. So there were a lot of groups in Hollywood that were just blatant communist front groups, and that was one of them. And Jane Fonda, in her infinite wisdom, decided to restart a communist front group on her own because her father started it, I guess, and she figures, well, this time it won't be communist, but she's kind of communist anyway. Hanoi Jane, if you haven't heard that phrase. So, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, are you really restarting the committee of a communist front group? That's insane. Indie Phantom. The video game was my Tron childhood, one of the best arcade games of the 80s. Yeah, I really love that game. I just assumed the movie made money, but it doesn't look like it did. Now, maybe they didn't spend as much on advertising, but still, kind of, and maybe the box office wasn't quite the same. Indie Phantom. Tron was like Blade Runner and The Thing back in the summer of 82. Everyone was just talking E.T. Yeah, I liked all those movies. E.T. I sort of like. It was okay. I didn't really love E.T. like everybody did, but I love The Thing. Oh my God, The Thing is such a good movie. One of the greatest movies. Whew. That is so good. The Thing is so good. Tron's fun. But the second movie ruins Tron, I think. It just ruins it. And then to make another one on top of that, it's like you're just compounding your mistakes. But you had a chance. I think you had a chance with that concept. And you were introducing a bunch of new characters. But of course, a bunch of them were super woke characters, it looks like. So, and I mean, the Critical Drinker was very forgiving in a couple of movies, including like Wicked. But man, he obliterated this movie. And the movie is tracking less than Morbius, which is, you remember that movie. It's Morbin Time, everybody. So Jared Leto, I don't know. Is he picking these movies? Ooh, this one will be terrible. Let me star in that. Or do they just come to him when like, all right, who can we get for the third Tron? The second one's terrible, and nobody with any kind of name recognition wants to be in this damn thing. Well, I could call Jared Leto. Right, call him. And he just agrees to it because what else is he going to be in at this point? He's become the Lou Gossett Jr. of the modern era. Poor Lou. I felt bad for Lou Gossett Jr. After an officer and a gentleman in Iron Eagle, you thought, oh, here's Lou Gossett Jr. He's pretty cool. And then he was in so many terrible movies. They would just die. It would just be like, starring Lou Gossett Jr. And I'd be like, oh, that movie's done. But yeah, Jared Leto, holy crap. So $33.5 million. This was below the estimate, which is all over the trades. They were like, oh, the estimate was, I think it started at 35 to 37. It's not too much lower, but this movie should have been big. How do you spend this kind of money on a film? And they don't have the budget here. But I got to think it's got to be approaching 100 million. I would be surprised if it was less than 100 million. There's a lot of effects in it. You got Jared Leto. You had to pay Jeff Bridges. Everybody else is kind of a nobody. But maybe they cheaped out and brought it in for under like 70, but I kind of doubt it. So even let's say it's 70, I don't think this movie, let's see, next week it'll do 17, And then it'll be a 50. Then the week after it'll do 8. And it'll be a 58. And then it'll do 4. And then it'll be 62, 64. You add in the days between, maybe you get over 80. I don't think that's going to be enough. Indie Phantom. Yeah, then Lou Gossett shows up as the owner of SeaWorld in Jaws 3D. Oh, boy, another stinker. Michael Caine's in that, too, I think, right? Michael Caine could somehow be in a stinker, and that was okay. For some reason, nobody ever blamed Michael Caine. But I think they would blame Lou Gossett Jr. Like, Michael Caine would somehow just rise above it. I think because of his attitude. And his attitude was like, anyone who pays me, I will be in their movie. I'm Michael Caine. He also had like videos on acting. Me and my friend used to goof on Michael Caine all the time. We had this comedy bit called the Michael Caine Brothers, where we were both Michael Caine, and we were both brothers. I'm Michael Caine, and I'm Michael Caine. Indie Phantom. Caine was in Jaws 4. Oh, okay. So that's the one. I saw both of these then. Because I know I saw Michael Caine, and I know I saw Jaws 3D. What a waste of technology that was. It had like a severed foot, like the shark ate this guy, and his foot comes floating down, and then you're watching it in 3D, and then the stump appears, and you're like, ah, it's right in my face. All right, number 2 is Roofman. This movie looked perfectly fine. It's Channing Tatum and what's her face? Oh God, the chick from Spider-Man. What's her friggin' name? The blonde everybody kind of tolerates. You know who I mean. So he's a thief, but he's a nice guy, and the plot is everybody's after him, so he has to hide out for like a month or 2. So he breaks into a toy store and hides up and lives in the toy store. So in the day he hides up in the ceiling of the toy store, and then at night when it closes he climbs down and like lives in the break room and eats candy, eats food, and eventually he figures out how to sneak out, and then eventually he meets what's her face, and they start up a thing, but she doesn't know he's a thief, and then he has to choose between escaping or her, and you can write the rest. It looks inoffensive. It wouldn't be my choice to watch. 8 million. It's Channing Tatum trying to be charming. Oh, Peter Dinklage is in this too, as the store manager. So, I mean, it's kind of a date movie. You could take your date to it. Perfectly fine movie because they probably get together at the end. And, I mean, there's probably no politics in it. There's that. The complete opposite, of course, is one battle after another, dropping from 2 to 3, 6.6 million. In its third week, it's done 138 million. Super political. It will not make its money back. Won't even come close. Might get over 140 gross, but that's not going to be enough. This movie is like Antifa the movie. I've heard the plot points. Basically, it could have been funny as hell, and I hear some scenes are very funny, but Leonardo DiCaprio is a revolutionary who falls in love with this woman. He may or may not. Oh, and also Sean Penn is in it. Also has sex with her. So they both have sex with this woman. Sean Penn more like coerces her, and then they don't know whose daughter it is she's carrying because she's a bit of a loose woman. and she's like a super revolutionary until she gets caught and turns on everybody to get herself free, which, like, everybody says the same thing about this movie. I hate all the characters, basically. Like, all the characters are unlikable. But as always, Leo gives an amazing performance. It's such a waste of his talent, it sounds like, though. You can't get a decent script. Why can't Paul Thomas Anderson get a decent script anymore? I don't understand. There's just no writers in Hollywood. They won't hire me. And they won't hire anybody else that seems to be able to tell a story. And this really is like pro-revolutionary movie, from what I've heard. Indie Phantom, one battle will just own the Oscars and nobody cares. That chick is not good looking, and I like black girls generally, but no bueno. JEC, because he insists on writing his own stuff. I respect that if you can do it. He did it once, but, you know, now you're going to tell us your politics. Again, do you see the pattern? Your politics are terrible. I think these people, one of the reasons their politics are so terrible is they're just out of touch with the common person. They're all rich. Let's see what Paul Thomas Anderson's worth. I'll say 40 million. Here it is, 70 million. How can this guy really, you know, he's completely insulated from what's going on in the world. There was a protest, oh God, I want to say it was last year or maybe 2 years ago. Sticks and Hammer always brings it up, and I always remember it too. LA had a big Antifa riot, and the cops stood around while they were tearing the place to hell. They were tearing up LA. And then at some point, the marchers got together and they started headed up into the Hollywood Hills. And at that point, the cops stopped them. And that shows you the hypocrisy of the local government there, right? It's like, oh, you can smash up the local stores and the little people's places. Go ahead, knock yourself out. We don't want to get hurt. Oh, wait, you got to come up with the hills? No. These are the people who pay our salary. Yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with it. They are literally insulated from the consequences of their own actions. You know? And that's true in socialist governments, too. You got a bunch of rich people. They love the socialist government because they're still rich. As long as they don't go against the government, they'll continue to be rich. As long as they continue to support, you know, the people that Maduro down in Venezuela, you know, the rich people there, I'm sure they're paying them bribes, but as long as they keep paying them and everybody's making money, it's all good. They're not going to get put up against a wall or anything. I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson is at that point in his life, but I think it's partly that. It's partly he's just insulated. He's thinking back to his life before he got famous, unless he was rich to begin with. I don't know. So, and I think too, like, I can see that if you get a few $1 million and now you can throw money around, you probably kind of get a little full of yourself too. And I think that plays a huge outside role in, like, well, obviously I know what I'm doing. Look how rich I am. So, you know, unless you really do the work, and the guys who do the work are writers, who generally aren't rich. Writers, but even the ones who are rich, you know, what's his face? Oh, God, I just drew a blank. William Goldman, patron saint of screenwriters. You know, I'm sure he was very comfortable. But, you know, he knew how to do research. A lot of his screenplays felt very real. You know, when he wrote a scene, it felt very real because he seemed to be in tune with things. You got to be in tune with at least your subject matter. You know, revolutionaries aren't a thing. Not really. The Antifa morons, most of them are college kids. They're idiots. They don't understand what they've done to their lives. And then if they stay in too long, they become criminals, essentially. But then they're under the delusion that they're fighting for some cause. But really, they've wrecked their lives. They've gathered a record. They're not going to be able to get a job now. They don't want a job because now they're used to, like, hanging out in the communist coffee shop and committing acts of petty theft in order to survive. They become attuned to that lifestyle, and then they essentially become criminal, but they just don't see it. They don't really see it until, you know, maybe some of them eventually do and then leave, but most of them just leave before it gets that bad. Most of them were rich to begin with. They went to college and their parents paid their way, and that's why they joined Antifa, because they're just as stupid as, I think, this guy. But Antifa the movie, one battle after another, and you couldn't time this movie worse. I mean, talk about bad timing. They should have delayed this movie. They should have just delayed it and not given a reason, right? I mean, after Charlie Kirk got murdered, should have just delayed this movie. This wasn't a summer movie anyway, or, you know, maybe you could have dropped this in January, you know, quietly released it, where movies go to die. And it probably would have done about as well. Number 4 is Gabby's Dollhouse. So I know you love that. Kristen Wiig mugging the camera. 3.3 million. Premiering at number 5, Soul on Fire at 3 million. I forget what this is about. Oh, it's one of these inspirational stories. I think it might be true, or partly true. Number 6, dropping from 5, Conjuring Last Rites, in its 6th week. That's pretty good for being in its 6th week, being number 6. 2.9 million. This anime thing, dropping from 6 to 7, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie, Infinity Castle. 2.25 million in its 5th week. Number 8, dropping from 3 in its 2nd week and dropping 69%, The Smashing Machine. This is the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's movie. Oh my, that's no bueno. 69%. Adios. $11 million for a movie that cost... If this movie cost less than 50, I'd be shocked. It should have cost like 20, but I don't know, man. They were talking Oscar for this movie too. But yeah, I think you're right, Indy. It's going to be one battle after another, scooping up a bunch. Maybe they throw The Rock a Mercy Oscar. I don't know, but I kind of doubt it. That sounds like a total flop. Number 9, dropping from 8, The Strangers Chapter 2. 1.5 million. Indie Phantom Rock smashed. Or The Rock not a smash. Number 10, dropping from 9, Good Boy. In its 2nd week, dropping 42%. So that's not too bad of a drop. 1.3 million. This is still a movie I'd like to see. It's the horror movie from the point of view of the dog. It's got mixed reviews, but it's different at least. Not looking like it's going to make money, though. 4.9 million total. I mean, I think it could be a pretty low budget flick, but I don't think could it be less than 4 million? Maybe. It is from IFC. I mean, maybe the guy made it and for like 2 million and then sold it. Number 11, dropping from 10, The Long Walk in its 5th week. 1 million, basically. Did 45 million. And yeah, looks like it just broke even. So, Stephen King, once again, making some money. Not much, though. By the formula, this made $682,000. That's not a big profit margin. I mean, they called this movie a flop. But again, is it a flop? It depends on how you do the math. If this movie had a production budget of $20 million and it did $45 million, that's what it needed to break even. And anything else is profit. So, but they could be again, they could be lying about it. They could underreport, they could overreport. I don't know. I don't want to say it. Mark Hamill as the evil general. Number 12, premiering at number 12, starring Jennifer Lopez, Kiss of the Spider-Woman at $1 million. Oofa. That doesn't look good. They are not saying kind things about this movie either. I have no idea what this is about, really. Let's read the synopsis. Valentin, a political prisoner, shares a cell with Molina, a window dresser convicted for public indecency. The two form an unlikely bond as Molina recounts the plot of a Hollywood musical starring his favorite silver screen diva, Ingrid Luna. What? That sounds... Huh? Indie Phantom, I declare The Long Walk a flop and will tell King and Hamill to their dumb faces. The Kiss of the Spider-Woman had a $30 million budget. Now that seems low for that movie because it is a musical, but yeah, $1 million. This movie's cooked. Wow, they've lost, except for Wicked, I guess, and I guess if you count the Taylor Swift movies, musicals aren't doing too well. I don't think that Hamilton movie made money. I think this trend may be finally dying. Thank God. Number 13, Downton Abbey, the grand finale, still chugging along at $700K. Him at 14, $460K in its 4th week, going out of theaters. The Bad Guys 2 got put back in theaters. Made $430K. Casper? Re-released Casper, huh? Interesting choice. Well, it is Halloween. JC, why would they put men and women together in prison? And I think it's in a foreign country in the story. Indie Phantom, the original Kiss of the Spider-Woman was the pick that William Hurt won Best Actor for. Then they made it into a musical. Oh. Okay. Huh. So it was a regular movie first. Why did they put music to it? That sounds dumb. Hey, why don't we just do Citizen Kane again? But this time we'll make it a musical. I'm Citizen Kane. I make the newspapers. Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah. I never saw a movie and went, oh man, if only the characters would start singing in the middle of this. That would be great. I'm a lethal weapon. I'm Mel Gibson. I'm going to shoot people. Yeah, so Casper got re-released. It made $268,000. Why even bother? JEC, meh. They made The Color Purple into a musical. Yeah, that was weird. Actually, what they did was, it was the book, then the movie, then the musical on Broadway, and then it went back to the movies. So how weird is that? I think that's weird. Eleanor the Great, directed by Scarlett Johansson, 170K in its third week. This was an art house movie. A chance for Scarlett to try to direct something. Good for her, I guess. JEC, there were musical numbers in the middle of Citizen Kane. There is a man, a certain man. His name is Kane. I don't remember that in Citizen Kane. Are you just goofing? But it's been years since I saw that movie. After the Hunt premieres way, I'll say like number 19 or 18. After the Hunt. What is this one? A college professor finds herself at personal and professional crossroads when a star student levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, and a dark secret from her own past threatens to come into the light. Okay. Oh, now I know what this is. This is Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts. It's like a Me Too movie. This guy gets Me Too'd out of college, and you don't know who to believe. All right. Wow. That's way down the list here. But it's an Amazon movie, so I guess they don't care about the box office that much. Indie Phantom, same pattern with lots of Hollywood. The Producers was a movie, then became a Broadway musical with Matthew Broderick, then made back into a flop movie musical. The Producers was great. Uh-oh. Can I click on this? Am I going to get in trouble? Oh, okay. I kind of vaguely remember this. I can't play this sound. Yeah, I guess that's... Yeah. I mean, it's a musical number. You always got the receipts, JEC. I gotta hand it to you. Indie Phantom. They even did it with John Waters' Hairspray. First movie was not a musical, just has music. JEC. The song starts a minute in. Yeah, I can't risk playing it. YouTube, man. They're on me. Or their AI is. I got demonetized. One of my streams. Remember that stream where we played... what's his face? The comedian that we were talking about, John Mulaney. And I played a couple of bits from John Mulaney. That whole stream got demonetized because I played that clip. So I'm completely paranoid now. JC, The Simpsons made parody of that song and did it only with Mr. Burns. I vaguely remember that. There is a man, Mr. Burns. Yeah. Okay. That's what it was from. After the Hunt, then Bone Lake. Dropping 83%. Ouch. Got boned Lake, it sounds more like. Was this a horror movie? A couple's romantic vacation in a secluded lakeside estate. Sounds like they're going to get boned Lake. Is upended when they are forced to share the mansion with a mysterious and attractive couple. The dream getaway spirals into a nightmarish maze of sex, lies, and manipulation, bringing a terrifying secret to light, triggering a bloody battle for survival. All right. Doesn't sound like it did too well. Dropped 83%. Oh, and Anemone, dropping 80%. That's Daniel Day-Lewis's return in his son's movie. I think you maybe made a mistake, bro. Anemone explores the complex and profound ties that exist between brothers, fathers, and sons. Yeah, it's a shame. $1,000,000 total, that is, in its second week, dropping 80%. That's no bueno. Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5. This is more of like a documentary. It had a very limited release. Now they put it into more theaters, so you don't know anything. It made $100K. I don't think anybody's interested in seeing this. Premiering like around 24. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which I think is supposed to be a comedy. I watched the trailer. I can't tell you if it is. So I would say no, it's not a comedy. With her life crashing down around her, Linda attempts to navigate her child's mysterious illness, her absent husband, a missing person, an increasingly hostile relationship with her therapist. Yeah, it's a weird name. The whole movie looked weird and not very entertaining. Freakier Friday, still hanging around, 79K in its 10th week. Fantastic Four First Steps, somehow still in theaters in its 12th week, 61K. Urchin, I did see the trailer for this. This looks pretty boring. It's about a homeless guy trying to make it in London. It made 218K. The Senior, that's the Michael Chiklis movie, I think, from Angel Studios. Got some good reviews. 35K. Dead of Winter, that didn't look too bad. 29K. The Roses, somehow still in 115 theaters. Who's seeing this? Remake of The War of the Roses. 20K. Re-Election. It's in one theater, made $6,600. What the hell's Re-Election? No idea. No summary. Looks like possibly a comedy? I don't know. Let's go to the IMDb, see if there's any news here. Here it is. Desperate to rediscover. I gotta scroll down on that too. I got flagged for playing one of the silent trailers in one video. It's a comedy. Desperate to rediscover the mojo he lost as a teenager, a disappointed middle-aged man re-enrolls in high school in order to run for class president again. That doesn't sound great. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. How would that even work? Why would the kids vote for him? They wouldn't even know him. JC, there is a man, a certain man, and for the poor you may be sure that he'll do all he can. Who is this one? This favorite son, just by action has the traction. Magnates on the run, who loves to smoke. I assume you're translating the entire song now. Cat Video Fest 2025, still in theaters. You still have time, everybody. If you love videos that you could see on the internet for free, but want to pay for them in theaters, you still have time to get to Cat Video Fest 2025. It made $3,758 this week. And finally, Peacock, which actually didn't look bad, made $525. Ouch. But it's a German comedy. Who loves to smoke, enjoys a joke, who wouldn't get a bit upset if he were really broke. With wealth and fame, he's still the same. I'll bet you 5 you're not alive. You don't know his name. What's his name? It's Charlie. Indie Phantom. Tony, did you mention that articles were blaming COVID for Tron, Ares crashing and burning? I had not mentioned that yet, but I did read that. I don't know how you could blame COVID for that at this point. Is it because you vaccinated the cast and they're all very logy? LeMay, seems like a rough week. Yeah, I'll say 69 million. Oof. Last week was 75, and that wasn't great. Imagine trying to blame COVID for your movie now. It's 2025. What, did you start shooting this movie 5 years ago? I guess the COVID rotted their brain. That's why they couldn't get a decent script. God. No one it's no wonder you can't get a good script in Hollywood. No one reads. I mean, no one read back in the 80s when I was trying to, like, push my scripts, and then in the 90s. Now, like, forget it. Absolutely forget it. I mean, you're talking about guys who were born when I was pitching scripts now are running a show. Those guys didn't read S. They haven't read a damn thing. You make a reference to, I don't know, Ulysses by James Joyce or something, they ain't going to get that reference. It's going to go whoop. And they've been to college. It don't matter. It don't matter. I bet they all went to go see one battle after another, though. God, that's a shame about Peacock, but it's a German comedy, so it's going to be tough. That's definitely something you'd binge on streaming. All right. Let's we're going to move on, but I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Joan, you're on camera. Entertain the troops. Got my backup beverage in effect. All right. Let's see. Let's see what you did this time, Joan. I love this running gag, by the way. All right. Wow. Everybody started piling in the moment I went to the bathroom. Indie Phantom, have seen a few videos saying the first multiplexes to close will likely be the ones in smaller cities that just can't support it. Then if you want to see a movie in theaters, you'll have to drive. That makes sense. I mean, I got one near me. It's huge, but they opened it. I think I told this story before. They opened it as an art house, a local sort of chain that was art houses. So the idea was going to be half art house and half regular movies, but unfortunately it didn't work. Alex Ogle is here. Evening Bigots legal stream with Viva/Barnes is over. Have you covered Tron Arse? Just talking about it again. I am not sure I trust the usual sources. Red Letter Media seem to have a good take. Oh, Critical Drinker did not. Indie Phantom, to the nearest city. I can see that happening for sure. Some small towns might be more dependent on their cinema because there is F-all to do otherwise. Well, I think the chances in small town of there being a 1 or 2 screen theater is a little higher if it survived, and then it may survive like on second run and classic movies. JC, wow, Joan, just immediately into the slurs. Alex Ogle, Joan, S wickedly funny, but I'd be surprised if it weren't legal repercussions from that joke. Damn it, Joan. JC, seriously, Joan, what race of people do you like, or do you just hate humans because you're a dog? Alex Ogle, Joan, that is wickedly funny. Storebang is here. I know, Joan. I'm not going to say that one. Indie Phantom, we still have a multiplex, 2 art houses, and a drive-in, but I think only the drive-in is consistent, and that's only open 3 months per year. Wow, you still have a drive-in? We have the last drive-in in New Jersey, not too far from me. It's called the Delsey Drive-In. It was built back in the 50s, and it's still hanging on as kind of like a hipster place. I don't really like the way they ran it, and we saw Superman there, so it was kind of fun for a different night out, but I don't know if I'd ever go back unless I was desperate to see a movie there. Maybe another year or two from now, I'll get it in my head to go there. But let's see. In my area, what do we have? Now, I'm in South Jersey, so we kind of have a lot of movies theaters still. So we have the drive-in is reasonable from me. It's about maybe 20 minutes to a half hour away. Then we have multiplex. Those 2 AMCs and 1 Regal, and then another Regal, and those 4 are basically in drive. They basically all have the same movies, but there's about 12 to 16 screens on each of those. For art house, you have to go into the city. So in Philly, we have the Ritz, which was the theater I mentioned that was art house. So they still have 2 Ritzes. They have 4 screens each, I think, of art house stuff, if you want to go into the city for that. And then after that, it gets, the drive gets kind of out of control. Alex Ogle, I agree. Tony writes, I agree, Tony. Writers have stopped reading. Graham Lineham, Father Ted, the It Crowd, complain that computer games creators don't read and only watch movies. Yeah, it's a real problem. You could start to see it in comics, because comic books, I mean, those guys were already cutting a lot of corners, but man, some of the guys who wrote for that, I knew a guy who actually wrote in his comic, "The hunter has become the hunted," and he thought that was an original line, and I was laughing at him because I thought he was kidding, and then he was like, what, why is that funny? And then I had to explain to him it's like the biggest cliche in the world, and then I had to explain to him what the word cliche meant. Like, I don't know how he got that gig. Alex Ogle, I think the problem is that writers have stopped even watching movies and are just basing scripts off of video games. I have also noticed that audiences are pathetically illiterate and will not hold opinions that aren't wildly written about or held by others on the internet. It's quite shocking how little audience are prepared to think about what they are consume. Well, to some extent, it's always been that way, right? I mean, I used to hear back in the 80s, people would complain about junk TV and junk movies. Don't watch TV, it rots your brain. And that's back when TV had some decent stuff on it every once in a while, and there were some decent movies around, right? There's always been that sort of division, but the problem is none of these guys seem to have any kind of education. And the guys greenlighting the stuff are equally ignorant. So there used to be some sort of gateway where they'd be like, no, this script makes no sense. Like, who greenlit Batwoman, right? We talked about that show way back. Batwoman's just so unbelievably bad. I mean, it's woke, but it's also just like it flies in the face of reason and logic time and time again, in my opinion. Same thing with a lot of this stuff. It's just like, how could you even greenlit this stuff? Like, I get it. You want to include as many diverse people as you can in your TV shows and movies, but why not even try to make it good? I mean, like, they're not even trying to make it good. It's just like, oh, we've got some people of color in this. Oh, okay. So, all right, let's just greenlit that, and then we're good to go, right? Like, no. You need actual stories and entertainment. So people like the stuff you're trying to push on everybody. They just don't have it. I mean, the people they hire are just so abysmally not qualified. I don't know what the metric is anymore. You know, I just talked to a producer, by the way, right before I got on the stream. And here's one reason you can't get a decent writer. So she put out an ad for a writer for a short script. Now, I've written short scripts for filmmakers before. It's fine. I don't expect to get paid gargantuan piles of money. But since I can knock a script like that out in an afternoon, you know, whatever you're going to pay me, you pay me, right? If I get some money out of it, I'm good. So I email her. She shoots back, oh, yeah, you got a great resume. You got great credits. But listen, you know, I don't have a lot of money, right? And you can already hear the wind up. I don't have a lot of money, and I spent so much money on equipment and the actors I'm going to use, or whatever she was going on and on about. So there's not really a lot of money for the writing part, and a lot of people who are submitting scripts are really doing it just to have the script made. And I finally just wrote back, you know, this has happened so many times, it's embarrassing. And I just wrote back to her, is there any pay at all? Because I was willing to I work cheap, but I don't work for free, is my rule. And she wrote back, well, a lot of people are doing this just to get it, you know, made, and we're going to make it, and we're going to put a lot of time and effort in it, but I don't have any money for you, writer. There's a huge problem right there. These people do not respect the writing process. They think they have to spend money on lights. They have to spend money on craft services. They probably have to spend money on some actors at least. They have to spend money on the film and the video and the cameraman and all these people. But they're going to cheap out on the writing. There's your answer. Indie Phantom. Yeah, our drive-in is the last. Used to be 6 of them when I was younger. This one has great prices and food, upgraded to digital years ago, and 5 years ago added a second screen. It opened in the early 80s. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's kind of run by, the Delsey Drive one is run by hipsters. They have, they do everything over the phone, including buying the tickets. I was a bit of a boomer. I showed up. I just wanted to hand my money in and drive in, but they were like, oh no, you gotta do this, you gotta do it online. And then you had to order your food online and then go up to pick it up, and that was a cluster F. Indie Phantom, that's no bueno. Pay the damn writer. Yeah, no kidding. Like, nothing? You wanted me to do it for exposure. I showed you my credits, and you want me to do it for exposure? Now, if you're a new writer and you need a credit, just so you could say to the next guy, I have a credit, you know, I'm not totally against new writers doing some stuff to get a credit, because you need a credit to show people I'm worth hiring. And if they make a decent movie out of it, yeah, they might hire you for other things. But I got real credits now, so, and you saw them, so no excuses. JEC, at that point, why not just chat GPT the script? Why go to the trouble of putting an ad if you're not planning on paying people? Yeah, and that's probably what a lot of them will do, and that'll suck too. Although she probably already did it, and the script sucks. So she wants to have a contest, and she wants everybody to be as gung-ho about her career as she is. See, oh, don't worry, I'm going to be a big movie director, and I'm going to bring you along. You're not going to make as much as me, but I'm going to bring you along. Until you decide to not hire me, or you get married and just say, for F a career, store bang. And there are people out there who want you to pay them money to shop around your script. Oh yeah, well that's just a grift, in my opinion. That's just a grift. You never want to pay those guys. Yeah, that's not what an agent does, by the way. Alex Ogle, Tony needs to be paid in pizza with pineapple on top and a nice big bowl of pasta fazool. No, I do not. Although I did once write part of a screenplay for a cheesesteak. It was a good cheesesteak. Solid would give it a 10. But yeah, I mean, you can't throw me like, I don't know, it was a short screenplay. I assume it would be like 10 pages. You can't throw me $200 for 10 pages. Seems like that wouldn't break the bank. Big time movie producer. Alex Ogle, Joan takes payments and don't read this. I don't even get that joke. I don't get that joke. But anyhow, this is part of the reason, yeah, and this happens in Hollywood. It doesn't just happen. That was some small filmmakers just trying to get by. This happens in Hollywood. The last person, this is why you hear stories about interns who their screenplay got made into a movie. Yeah, that's because nobody wants to pay the writer, and they went to the intern. Can you write this script? And the intern wrote it, and maybe they threw him a bone. Like in Hollywood, they would have to pay him something. But then, he has to split the credit with the director and, the producer, and then so he doesn't get paid quite the rate, but LeMay, painfully cheap, yes. Alex Ogle, it's a what? A furrow-sup to Sorbangs. Oh, okay. A follow-up to Storbanks. Yeah, I'm not going to read that. I don't know what you guys are doing. Anyhow, let's move on to the trades. Tron Ares box office failure shows how Disney doesn't understand nostalgia. Look at this lineup. This looks like the most boring thing. This looks like a used car ad. Would you like to drive a new Tron? The new Tron Ares. I'm Jared Leto, the salesman at Tron Ares. I mean, that's what it looks like. Let's see. What else? Oh, here was a story. You'll love this one. New York Comic Con unveils male Klingon wearing a skirt for Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So let's scroll down for that. There it is. You see the skirt here? There it is. Imagine being this actor. All right, you're going to be playing the Klingon. Oh, really? That sounds great. I get one of those, bat laughs. I'm going to beat the crap out of people. Yeah, maybe. But first we're going to need to fit you for this skirt. Excuse me? Yeah, we're going to put you in a skirt. So you're going to be a trans Klingon. Or whatever the hell this guy's supposed to be. I'm going to be a what? A trans Klingon. You can be trans. All right, you still get to be a Klingon, but it'll be a trans Klingon. Alex Ogle, it's not even manly enough to be a kilt. I know, right? At least if they had made it a kilt, you might have been able to get away with it. Like, why the hell are you putting him in a skirt? Like, Alex Kurtzman must just sit around all day and go, how can I ruin Star Trek today? Well, we've done so much work in the past. I don't know. I don't know if I could top myself. Oh, wait a minute. Have I made the Klingons gay yet? No, you still haven't made the Klingons gay. Well, that's it. That's got to be the new angle. Oh, it's a fresh angle, Alex. I think that'll really ruin Star Trek. Yeah? Yeah, let's get him in a skirt. Holly Hunter is the star of this show, by the way. The Starfleet Academy show. And there are still people. There are still Trekkies. Ugh. JC, maybe it's a super manly warrior dress, like a kilt. I don't think so. I mean, maybe that's what they're going for, but not with those legs, man. He ain't wearing, like, pants. He doesn't have, like, it doesn't look like his legs are bare. It looks like he's got some sort of black stockings on. He doesn't even look happy about being in it. Like, look at his face. Look at the expression on his face. Like, oh, come on, man. Why am I wearing a skirt? Like, I thought I'd be a Klingon. I thought it'd be cool, like Michael Dorn. Can I be like Michael Dorn? No, wear the skirt. God, that's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Oh, here's another. Apparently, there was already a male skirt. Maybe in the show. I don't know. I don't know what this is from. The result was fans cringing at it, and the male skirts were quickly abandoned in the show because of it. But in 2025, oh, I guess it was on the original series, Next Generation? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Jeez, Roddenberry. But in 2025, the Klingon might have more meaning to the skirt in question, might be a sign of gender identity politics. Oof. Trans Klingon. Now I've seen everything. Also, Games Workshop embroiled in another lawsuit against a miniature sculptor. I don't know how you do that. I thought they had all the money that God could possibly print, but apparently not. Short fiction is dying, but is there anything that can be done about it? Yeah, read the Pineys. Then everything will be well. Netflix CEO claims the company is doing its job right. If people believe the content is not great or think it's harmful. Indie Phantom, Holly Hunter, LOL. Indeed. She used to do decent stuff like 30 plus years ago. Star Trek is just the worst thing now. Used to like the movies, but I didn't get to the next gen and beyond. F all that. Yeah, I watched First Contact, and that was decent. It was okay. I didn't watch Nemesis. And then there was the one where Captain Kirk dies. I didn't want to see Kirk die. I refused to go see it. So, Kirk doesn't die. He's not a guy who's going to die. I mean, they brought back Scotty in an episode of Next Generation. He was still alive. So, you can't tell me Kirk's going to die. But here's the Netflix CEO. And everybody tells me on the road, oh, you're going to get a Netflix series for the Pineys? Like, why haven't you submitted it yet? That's the way they talk. Like, oh, it's easy. You just go to Netflix, right? And you show them you have a book, and they'll just make it, right? Like, no, they're not drowning me in money. But I don't think, I hate to say it, but I don't think Netflix or any of the big studios would do the Pineys. I genuinely don't think they'll do it. JEC, First Contact is the best one. The follow-up movie, I remember, felt like an episode of the show. Yeah, and even First Contact was okay, but it flew in the face of canon, which kind of pissed me off. And that's basically when I started getting out of Star Trek. After that, I didn't watch any of the movies. But yeah, the reason they won't do the Pineys is there's too many guns in it. They just won't do it. Or they'll change it and try to downplay the guns. But I tried to write it in such a way that to remove the guns would just gut the whole thing and it would collapse. So the idea that a bunch of hunters go into the woods, but, you know, guns aren't really important. Yeah, it's not going to work. So, but I don't know. Maybe Netflix will get the memo. Hey, we can make money going the other way with some of this stuff culturally. Alex Ogle, I had a friend over this weekend and we watched The Hobbit. Guillermo del Toro's fingerprints are all over it with socialism written through it like a stick of rock. The worst was the computer game mechanics in almost every fight scene. The only saving grace was finding out Canuck actress Evangeline Lilly was anti-coof jibby jab. She was. Then I think when that came out, it came out, I want to say like right before Quantum Mania, and that's why they gave her the ugly pixie haircut. I think they were trying to sabotage her character a little bit, but yeah, I always liked Evangeline Lilly. But now her career might be that might be the end of her. I mean, Quantum Mania didn't do her any favors either. Let's be honest. Is there anything else worth talking about here? Wonder Man dropped. You may have saw my video for that. That looks pretty boring. Doesn't even look bad. It just looks boring. It's like they're gonna do it like, you know, another inside look at acting in Hollywood. At least that's what the trailer looks like. There's not one superhero thing in the trailer other than to talk about movies made about superheroes. I'm not sure where they're going with that at all. James Gunn signals Peacemaker Season 3 won't happen amid poor viewership. See, this is why I think the rumor about his exit might be true. Because I think if he was good with the studio, he'd probably make another season of this. And people liked the first season, and they hate the second season, it seems to me. So, librarian who was fired for refusing to move graphic sex books from children's section receives $700K. I mean, this has to keep happening until it stops, but unfortunately, it's not the money of the people who run the government here. It's our money. So even though she probably deserves the payout, the taxpayers are flipping the bill for that. So until people get mad enough to realize, oh my God, we're getting killed in these lawsuits. Why do these lawsuits keep happening? And they throw out the woke morons who run schools, we'll probably see more of this. All right, moving on to Variety. Tron Ares stumbles with $35.3 million. Disney's sci-fi sequel Tron Ares failed to connect with its box office debut. I think it failed to connect with its audience is the real story there. Diane Keaton, of course, died 2 days ago, I think. And she was 79. No one's quite sure what she died of, but 79, you know. Apparently, like in the last couple of months, she was on a decline. Man, when it's time to go, I've heard a lot of people die that way, you know, when they get old. 1 minute they're fine, and then they just go into a decline and they never recover. Like a rapid decline. How Diane Keaton tirelessly campaigned to preserve Los Angeles architectural history. Okay. Alex Ogle. Do you not have stick of rock in the U.S.? It's a long stick of hard sugary candy with a word or words written on it, its length. Look it up. All right. Stick of rock. So it means stick of rock candy. Stick of rock. Huh. We have stuff like that, but we don't call it that. So while traditionally associated with British seaside resorts, similar confections exist globally. Edinburgh Rock is friable cream of tartar based candy. Yeah, we call that rock candy. And it's something they teach you. You can like make rock candy. If you know, you boil like sugar water and you put the string in it, it all hardens on the string. In South Jersey, we have saltwater taffy. That's our claim to fame in the candy world. So it's like fresh taffy you get down the shore, or fudge. And so that's like a summer thing. When you go down the shore, you might get a box of fudge or saltwater taffy. If you like people and you want to eat some of it, you get fudge. If you don't like people and you're giving it as a gift and you're not going to eat any, you get them saltwater taffy. That's the way I look at it. Saltwater taffy's not that great. It's okay. If you get it super fresh and it's nice and soft, it's great, but that is a rarity. But fudge, oh, the fudge, that's good stuff. Get a nice box of fudge. But we have like, this is America, so we have like way too much candy. Like every store you go into, has a candy section just about. You know, even the Mini Mart has a large candy section. Like the Mini Mart in South Jersey is called Wawa, Wawa. That's its actual name. You know, like you know, what's her name, Helen Keller, Wawa. That, I think that's where it comes from. Anyhow, you can go into a Wawa, and they have like sandwiches and sodas and stuff, and then on one section it's just a row of candy, like lots of candy bars, and then there's another row with all pastries like tasty cakes and Hostess and all that stuff. Krispy Kreme, I think they have sometimes. But the candy, I mean, we just have every candy you can think of. You know, we have all the chocolate bars, all the Hershey stuff. We have, you know, like peppermint sticks and stuff like that. That's another word for it, peppermint sticks. JEC, it's the way to go. You don't want to die in some big drawn out thing where you have a bunch of strokes and are crippled for years and then you die. Yeah, it's a shame. Tim Curry is, he recently made an appearance for the 50th anniversary of Rocky Horror, and he had a stroke, so unfortunately he couldn't get out of his wheelchair, but he brought some energy to it, more energy than the guys in Spinal Tap. Alex Ogle, oh yes, happy Canadian Thanksgiving, everyone. Hit that like button. Thank you. Oh, it's Canadian Thanksgiving today? What do you do for Canadian Thanksgiving? Do you do anything different? I mean, do you do something woke, like you have to give all the Indians your money and then you just sit at home in an empty house? Or do you make a bunch of back bacon and have Molson's and then go out for Tim Hortons afterwards? JC, we're having our dinner tomorrow. Okay. Do you have a big story with the Pilgrims connected to it like we do, or no? I don't think I've ever been to a Canadian Thanksgiving. Do you have poutine? I assume you have poutine at every meal, but just asking. Indie Phantom, turkey time. Nice. Yeah, I love me some roasted turkey. Oh boy. One year my mother tried to push ham. And there was like a near riot in the house. Like, ham? What? What's happening? Indie Phantom, boycott Tim's. Why am I boycotting Tim's now? I just got one near me. My Canadian friend who lives in a different part of New Jersey is very jealous. He's from Montreal. I told him we had a Tim Hortons like literally down the street from me. He was like, oh, I can't believe it. Indie Phantom, I just eat loaded turkey. Do you get the stuffing? I love the stuffing. You get some good stuffing in there with mushrooms, celery, bread, and onions. Oh, man. Indie Phantom, mashed, the works. JC, it's like American Thanksgiving, but it gets colder up here earlier, so we have Thanksgiving a month earlier because it's the harvest thing. Oh, okay. Yams, people like the yams. I'm not a yam guy. I like to have, I'll have the, I'm not a huge mashed potatoes. I'd rather have roasted potatoes, but I am in the minority when it comes to Thanksgiving on that. Alex Ogle, movie pitch. Love letters, Sydney Sweeney in a bikini. Desperately wants to gain entry to the chocolate factory since Charlie took it over from Willy Wonka. So he sets a challenge where a special stick of rock has the word love inside it. She must find all the sticks and suck them until the word is revealed. Close-ups required. I'm just going to green light that one now. Nice. Indie Phantom. Yeah, Mom makes good stuffing. Oh, you can't beat good stuffing. One year, my mother finally got the message, and now she sometimes makes an entire tray of extra stuffing. So she stuffs the turkey with the stuffing, and that's extra moist because it's cooked in the turkey. But then she makes like an extra tray of it because we love stuffing so much. And because I'm Italian, usually every year, although I don't think we had it last year, but my mother used to also make spaghetti and meatballs, I swear to you, alongside the turkey. So we would have Spaghetti and meatballs, because my brother, for a long time, basically all he ate was spaghetti and meatballs. He loved spaghetti and meatballs. He didn't want to eat anything else. So my mother would make spaghetti and meatballs at Thanksgiving just so he would have some food. And he would eat like double that. I would have a little because it is good. But I mainly was up for the turkey. So we would have like a double whammy there. Alex Ogle, I had a curry and may have a pizza with pineapple on it tomorrow. Damn you, Alex. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 sets fall 2026 release date and will introduce Venom, Gwen Stacy, and more. I can't wait to hear their pronouns because this is one of the wokest things I've ever seen, this cartoon. So they're still doing that over at Disney, apparently. If that show finally stops doing woke stuff, then you know maybe Disney finally turned off the spigot. But I don't know. WGA urges CBS News staffers not respond to a Barry Weiss info-seeking memo until company provides details on purpose of her email. So Barry Weiss, for those of you who don't know, worked at the New York Times. And she left, I forget how long ago. I want to say like it had to be at least a year or two, possibly a little longer. And she left a note saying how basically the New York Times had been infiltrated by communists. Now, she is not based. She is very much still liberal, but she ain't no commie. And she called out the New York Times for a lot of their very biased coverage, I think. And now she had started another news thing, and she's seemingly very qualified for the position of doing news. CBS is trying to change their news division, so they made her the head of CBS News, and now you see the resistance already. Now, this is to a woman who, by all accounts, is incredibly liberal. Like, her politics would not offend anyone but hardcore leftist morons, in my view. She's just reasonable. She just called out the bias at the New York Times. That's it. And she quit the New York Times. And I got to give her all the respect in the world for doing that. Thank you for doing that, because it made a real statement. And it paid off for her at the end. Because you need credibility to do news, and she has some. Unlike most of the people in the news organizations today. They have none. Who at CNN has any credibility left? Maybe that one guy, the conservative they hired, only because he hasn't been there that long. Everybody else, I wouldn't trust them to predict the sunrise. So this is the way. But it's taken forever, and you can see why it's taken forever. The WGA, which is the Writers Guild of America, I'm sad to say, here they are urging CBS staffers not to respond to Barry Weiss. Don't respond to your boss. Because, why? Because she doesn't want to be a full-blown communist? I bet that's why. Because she doesn't want to spend all day and all night rallying against the current administration because everybody's so self-righteous in the WGA and CBS? That's not what news is for. News is supposed to go out, find stories, and report it to people because it's information they need. And while it's really hard to do that in an unbiased way, you could at least pretend to be unbiased. You could at least try a little bit. I mean, there are still old people watching CBS. Joan, do you have to get up? Here. Joan's going away. There you go, Joan. So, that's the story there, I believe. Chloe Zhao, Indie Phantom, commies! Chloe Zhao, if you remember her, she directed The Eternals, on why Hollywood is not very good at preserving the language of ambiguity and how neurodivergence is her superpower in filmmaking. So, are you saying that you've got some sort of mental thing? And that's why you're great? Is that why the Eternals didn't make any sense and didn't make any money? I don't know. Here's another article about an SNL skit I don't care about. Oh, here's an update on the Odysee. The Odysee star Elliot Page says it was such a joy reuniting with Christopher Nolan and being more comfortable in yourself post-transition. Oh boy. Alex Ogle, Joan needed to get down. She was raising her paw in a distinct Dankula fashion to get your attention for a little while there. That's not why she was doing it. She does that because she wants attention. JC, talking about being mentally ill isn't a red flag or nothing. Yeah, how is it a superpower to be neurodivergent? Warner Brothers Discovery rejected Paramount Skydance acquisition offer of $20 per share as too low. All right, so maybe this merger or buyout isn't happening. If it doesn't happen, then James Gunn may very well still have a job, because the rumor was he was out because they're going to acquire Warner Brothers, and then there's going to be a shakeup again. Indie Phantom, I don't care about the Odysee for now for sure. Not that I ever did. Yeah, it's looking woker and woker every article I read about it. Elliot Page is in it. There's a bunch of race swap characters in it. It just sounds like it's going to be a big mess. Lawrence Fishburne on if he would return as Morpheus in Matrix 5. I don't know if it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to make a Matrix 5, that's for sure. Does Keanu Reeves have boat payments to make? What's going on? Can you not give the Wachowskis something else to do? Let them go make a spin-off movie if you gotta do this again. Alex Ogle, Tony, describe how someone like James Gunn can continue to be employed. Well, all these projects are done way in advance. JC, I mean, maybe Mr. Page might be playing a eunuch. So, James Gunn, you know, they line up all these projects in advance. And much like the actors, the strategy is to get your client in enough things that even if one thing fails, something else will be good enough that they're not going to associate you with nothing but bad projects, right? So, you know, if Jared Leto, for instance, had another movie or two coming out and those did okay, they wouldn't associate him with every box office bomb that comes down the pike, let's say. Now, James Gunn is a little bit of a different story because they put him in charge of the DCU. And so he had Superman. That was his main thing. And, yeah, I don't know. I think the only reason they would keep him employed at this point is if Warner Brothers doesn't sell. So the word early was Zaslav was only taking over Warner Brothers in order to reorganize it so it would be sellable again. And then he would sell it, and then Discovery would make a bunch of money, and that would be good. However, if they don't buy it, then the question is, does Zaslav then turn around and go, oh no, We can't sell Warner Brothers. We're stuck with it. We're going to have to run it for another few years. I need to do a shakeup. But how does it look to shake out your own guy? Like if Skydance buys Warner Brothers, I wouldn't be surprised if James Gunn is out. Simply because they'll just fire a lot of people. And if anybody's even on the bubble, and James Gunn is at least on the bubble, out you go. Because new faces, everything's new, people like new, it brings positive attention to your product. But James Gunn will always work because he's a name. And he's done stuff before, and he's directed before. And he's not the worst screenwriter in the world, but he's appeared to become another guy that you have to sit on. I've said that about Zack Snyder. Like, if I was running the studio and I had Zack Snyder working under me, I'd be like, all right, Zack, we're going to give you this movie, whatever it is. But you have to do what the screenwriter says because your screenwriting sucks. I hate your stories. Your stories don't make any sense. So you gotta do the script as it's written. You could do all the crazy visuals you want, but make sure the screenplay is followed. And then I think if you did that, Zack Snyder could make an awesome movie. I really do. I would love to have Zack Snyder do the Pineys. It would be amazing if he followed the book exactly as I wrote it. Would he? Probably not. I wouldn't have the power to tell him what to do. He probably wouldn't listen to me unless the studio told him, you will listen to this man or you will not get paid. You will be in breach of contract and you'll get nothing. Then he might listen to me. But he's got too much money of his own, so he doesn't really need to listen to me. Same thing partly with James Gunn. He doesn't really need to listen to the studio. He's worth $70 million. And he'll always work. What studio wouldn't want James Gunn? I mean, he's already worked for Marvel. He's already had a string of hit movies. Even if you say, well, this is the guy who killed the DCU. Okay, he's on his way down, but people still know his name. So if you suddenly say, hey, James Gunn, you want to shoot and direct this TV show we want to do? And throw him a bunch of money and boom, you got a show that people go, from director James Gunn comes a new show called I Piss My Pants. The story of an Antifa protester who gets arrested and pisses his pants. You know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter because it's a way to promote it. So once you have a name, yeah, you can get lots of work. You'll always work. Kevin Smith can always work. Even though he's had some setbacks, I would say. But he's in the industry. He's known as a guy who can do things. He can direct. He can produce. He can write. So the industry looks at box office bombs differently than normal people, I think. You know, it's sort of inevitable. Actors will be in bad movies. Now, in like the 70s, if you launched your career and you were in a really bad movie, that could be the end for you. Like, I think the guy who was in the second Planet of the Apes movie, I think that was he was in that movie, and then after that his career went, because the movie didn't do too well. But that was back in the 70s. Now you got Rachel Zegler. By the time she got up to the point that she was appearing in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, they had her in the pipeline for all kinds of things. Because that's the way they produce them now. They make sure, you know, we don't want to invest all this money and then have to tell Rachel Zegler, okay, go home. We have to tune somebody else up. And I don't even think it's really about talent anymore. It's about producing a product. And they see the actors and the directors and everybody involved in Hollywood as a product. And yeah, sometimes people get sick of a product, but if it's known, it still has some value to them. So, and I would say James Gunn can write a decent script when he wants to. But there's just too many people out there in the studios. They just do things that make no sense to me. Like, James Gunn did not have to do what he did to Peacemaker Season 2 at all. Like, he did I heard by all accounts the first season of Peacemaker was funny. It was fun. That he couldn't do that again is kind of crazy. Like, it makes you wonder what happened between seasons 1 and 2. Was there a guy standing above him going, no, don't do that. It's too political. Don't do that. It's too crazy. You know, was there an editor there keeping him in line? And then for the second season, he just went, okay, do whatever you want. Maybe. Or was James Gunn on his best behavior while doing Peacemaker because he was up for the Superman gig and the DCU and he hadn't quite sealed the deal yet? Because there was like a big gap between season 1 and 2, I believe. So then, once he sealed the deal, he said, oh, now I'm in, and my contract's ironclad, and either way, I'm getting paid, so now let's do these crazy stories that they would never approve unless I was in charge. You know, his ego might have done it. Indie Phantom, hard to believe Snow White just came out this year. Feels like ages ago. Memory hold as F. Yeah, this is like a year. I mean, think about this. Trump was elected president this year. And it feels like an eon. All the stuff that has happened. I mean, just this week was crazy. But between that and all the various things that happen, I mean, just so much has happened. I can't even keep up with it all. You know, I do the news blast every day, and some days I just go, I get done, if I do it early enough, and then later I go to do Hollywoke Hot Take, and I start looking through the news sources for the Hollywood stories, but then I see some of the newer stories that drop, and I go, oh my God, I could do another whole news blast. Excuse me. He was elected last year. Well, it's 2025. Well, technically, but I mean, he started his presidency this year. He was only in office since January 20th. And it's coming up on a year, but it hasn't been a year yet. But it feels like he's been president forever now. Alex Ogle, I'm glad it was less than a year ago since Trump was inaugurated. He's going to overturn so much. We'll see. I mean, he's gotten some resistance, that's for sure. He just ousted a guy, JC. He was sworn in February. Oh, so that's even longer. He just ousted a guy they said was in his inner circle, and they think he was responsible for the rift between him and Elon Musk. And so he's out. Like, he's gone, that dude. And so that's interesting. But it feels like a roller coaster. And now, Monday, fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly as the hostages are released over the next couple of days, and hopefully this peace process holds. There's going to be some problems, I'm sure, but this is a big win if it holds. So, he was sworn in February? I thought he was sworn in on January 20th. Or is that when they confirm him? I guess that's where they confirm him. All right, moving on. Sunday Night Football, how to watch Lions versus Chiefs. I can do it by not watching it. Let's see. More on Elliot Page. Keira Knightley was not aware of J.K. Rowling's boycott before joining Harry Potter. The full cast audio editions. I hope that we can all find respect. Fair enough. See, that kind of thing you say. Like, even if you disagree with J.K. Rowling, and I don't know why you would. Again, she's pretty left as well. you know, you disagree with her on a point, it doesn't mean you have to burn her house to the ground, figuratively speaking. These kids who came up in Harry Potter the first time and made huge careers and millions of dollars, what a bunch of ingrates. What a bunch of ingrates. Avatar The Last Airbender gets a 2026 fighting video game and animated YouTube series. This is another IP, like, they've tried to make this IP work. And I hear one of the cartoons is really good, but my God, how many bites at the apple are you going to get with this IP? How many times are you going to try to make this? YouTube stars the McCartys expand their twisted, weird, funny universe with animated series and competition show. We are building a massive brand. I have no idea who they are. SNL veteran Ken Amung returns to producer role after retiring in 2021. That's not a good sign. Sounds like they're having issues. You had to bring back a guy who retired? That sounds bad. But SNL, I mean, if that's not a sinking ship, I don't know what is. All right, bounding into comics. Talking about Halloween stuff. Bone Tomahawk, love that movie. It's crazy. Tron Ares review, from Morbin Time to Tron in Time for Jared Leto. Tron in Time. Why didn't I think of that? That's a good one. This is a bad sign. Mortal Kombat 2 to give Katana as much spotlight as Johnny Cage. Stories very much interwoven. That doesn't sound good. That sounds like, oh, we can't let Carl Urban have the whole movie. We got to add a woman to the mix and make her strong and empowered. Like, Mortal Kombat? Really? You have to balance the scales in Mortal Kombat? Really? Mortal Kombat will barely be a watchable film, and only if you put the song in. Oh, this is more from this week. X-Men 97 promises original showrunners firing has no effect on season 2. Same director, same producers, cast, and many of the same writers. That doesn't sound good to me. And wasn't Bo DeMeo, like, ripping these guys for not wanting to do anything canon? I think that was his name, right? Bo DeMeo? I don't know. I don't know why anybody wants to watch X-Men 97 cartoon now. What a weird thing to bring back. But okay. Let's see. Anything else? All right. Let's go to Hollywood Reporter. How Kevin Costner lost Hollywood, on-set brawls, courtroom battles, epic bombs, why the world's most bankable cowboy is suddenly shooting blanks. Man, that Horizon movie was brutal. It was brutal. It went on forever, man. I mean, you know who liked it? Weirdly enough, it was Razor Fist. He loved the, I think, the authenticity of it, which I guess it had in some respects, but man, it was not a fun ride at all. There's like a couple of cool scenes, and then the movie just kind of ends, and you're just like, what? Thank you, but what? You know, Bone Tomahawk is such a tight movie and so crazy, and man, what a payoff. But that Horizon movie, whew. All right, what else? What else? Why Lin-Manuel Miranda's dad told son not to perform Hamilton song at White House event. JC, anything Costner directs is too long. I mean, it worked with Dances with Wolves. He directed that, right? The Kraken, I missed it. What movie? Dances with Wolves? Horizon is the one I'm talking about. I think that's what it was called, right? It was like, this is an epic movie Costner directed, and then there's a second part of it that was supposed to come out like 6 months later, but the first one did so poorly they delayed it. I don't know if it's ever coming out. I assume eventually it'll hit streaming at least, but it's a long movie, and it's not very coherent in my view. It's like a bunch of act ones strung together, and then part of an act two, and then it just ends. Indie Phantom, best scene in Horizon was the chick showering. The shootout wasn't bad towards the end. The Kraken, hadn't seen it. I thought it may have been Waterworld 2, which I liked. Indie Phantom, like Costner, but he has a lot of notorious flops. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with him. Anybody ever see that the Postman movie? I hear mixed things about that. I still kind of want to see it. It's been on my list forever, but I never saw it. Because I like post-apocalyptic movies, like after the big war. But I hear it's long and boring. Reese Witherspoon debuts novel set in medical world, reveals for years, I wanted to be a surgeon. Okay, good luck with that. JC, The Postman is like Mad Max if it was boring, and it's too long. The Kraken, I did see it. Forgettable. I think that Mel Gibson would have done it better. That's a shame. It's another kind of movie. Like, how can you not make that movie a movie like that awesome, you know? Post-apocalyptic, everybody's killing each other. I think it would be a good TV series, like a Mad Max TV series. Not Mad Max. I think, you know, they've kind of screwed that one up. But it'd be great to have a TV series set in an apocalyptic future. Indie Phantom, tried to watch The Postman on a flight a few months ago and fell asleep. Wasn't fond of it. JC, Mel would have put enough violence in it to keep it interesting. Mel's the best. I mean, he's really a good director. There's just no denying it. He's like the next Clint Eastwood, right? Clint Eastwood's amazing, still directing somehow, still alive, and Mel, I think, is gonna be like that. Alex Ogle, the only Horizon I know is the old BBC flagship science program. The most notable episode for me was entitled Gentlemen, Lift Your Shirts, dealing with the end of the ground effects era in F1. Let's see. Nothing much here but SNL and Tron. Oh, new Jumanji movie being shot in November. Why the hell would you make another Jumanji movie? Man, these guys are out of ideas. Is it this expensive just to bring in a writer? I mean, seriously. You give me $200K, I'll write you an amazing script. I don't care. Just give me a flat $200K. $200K. It'll be done. You're going to have some rewrites if you want. All the rewrites you need. $200K? That's nothing for a movie. Nothing. Think of the amount of money they spend on these movies and think how bad the scripts are. Just think about it. $200K. They make these movies. They spend $100 million, $200 million. $200K isn't even 1% of that. And usually the formula is 2% of the budget. So if you do shoot a $200 million movie, you're supposed to give the writer $4 million, right? That's 2% of the total budget. Alex Ogle. S.K. Ertz, Tony. It wasn't some mafioso initiation documentary with shirt lifters, Tony. Lift your skirts. Oh, dealing with the ground effects era in F1. Oh, skirts. I thought you said shirts. Sorry. The letters are teeny tiny on my screen sometimes. All right, getting into Bleeding Fool. Lucas, Spielberg, and now Amazon. Why Hollywood keeps erasing guns from cinema. See, this is why the Pineys will probably not be picked up. They will probably say there's too many guns in this. You're going to have to scale back the guns. And that's why I wrote it. That's part of the reason why I wrote it. I tried to jam as many guns in it as possible. And a main character who just loves guns. Book 17, that joke pays off bigly, by the way. So, yeah. So these guys think by erasing guns in cinema that's going to do something. I don't know why. Like, people are going to say, you know what? I haven't seen a gun in a movie in a while. I feel less like killing people. Yeah, me too. Me too. Robin Williams' daughter rightly calls deepfake AI videos gross and disgusting. So here's a weird thing. Robin Williams' daughter complains that people make AI videos with her father and then send it to her. Like, that's kind of disturbing. I don't think the fans mean it as something creepy. They're just not thinking straight. Like, that is a person's father. You're sending like pictures of a video of the dead father to her. Like, she knew him differently from you. You shouldn't be doing that. Indie Phantom, think Lucas himself was at Comic-Con this week and nerds were lining up hours for his SIG. Too much gun and not enough guns. Ha! Ha! Let's see. Another Netflix cartoon guy said something ghoulish. I think it was about Charlie Kirk. MCU's Scarlet Witch actress wants an adaptation of House of M. Who the hell's even going to get that one? JC, hello, daughter. It is I, your dead father who took his own life. I have returned through the power of AI. Yeah, like, who wants to see that? OpenAI Sora sparks Hollywood panic over future of filmmaking. There were a lot of cool films this week. Here's the Mario Brothers in Star Wars. Here's Pikachu in a war movie. There were more. Ricky Berwick, who's the comedian who's disabled, he did a bunch of videos, and some of them were really funny. He did one where he fights Jake Paul. Jake Paul beats the crap out of him. Alex Ogle, writers want to try to change people's opinions. This is why I said what I did earlier about the audiences having a troubling propensity to adopt others' opinions. They are putty to commies. Yeah, and they don't, I mean, they're just so ignorant. People are so ignorant now. I mean, God. It's sort of breathtaking how deeply stupid people are sometimes. And you talk to them and you just go, you don't know that? Like, how can you not know these basic things? And they just don't. They know a bunch of useless things. I mean, I thought I knew a bunch of useless things because I knew about comics and cartoons and whatnot. But, my God. At least when I played Dungeons and Dragons, I learned about, like, medieval weapons. People just don't know things. That's why sometimes I, like in my videos, I'll just repeat a story about a very basic thing we did in the 80s that maybe really isn't done now. Like one of my all-time top pieces of advice for new writers is to read the classics. Like actually read them. And I don't know if that gets through. Jesus A. Adorno is here. Hello there. Hello, Jesus. Welcome. All right, we're over deadline. Let's see. Well, here, wow, we're complaining about nobody reads. Here's, you need to read. We need to read what? These were all movies. I guess you need to read the article? Okay. Never mind. In case you haven't heard, there's this new AI actress called Tilly Norwood that they built in the AI, and they're trying to get her representation. I don't know. You want to talk about trends in Hollywood? This is a trend. Sure, you could sign up an AI exclusively at some agency and start putting her in movies. I don't know what movie you're going to be casting her in. I don't think that's going to work that way. Because I think when the studios get a hold of the technology, they're not going to use a outside AI. Tilly Norwood isn't going to be a big name, is my prediction. Alex Ogle, I'm finding it's only people not knowing things, but also people overhauling what they say they know based on what someone else says. They refuse to form their own opinions. Yeah, or they get caught up in the latest trend, unfortunately, seems to be a bunch of people who suddenly have decided to look at the bad guys from Germany and say, oh, wait, maybe these guys weren't so bad. There were a couple of facts here I didn't know. Therefore, it must have all been a lie. No, that's not true. I mean, there were some lies about Lincoln, and I was pretty upset when I found out about him, but, you know, it didn't mean he wasn't president. Didn't mean he didn't do some good things. People are complex, but Jesus, take a chill pill, man. I'm pretty sure they didn't get that much wrong with the bad guy from Germany. What else? Oh, wait, was that about Tron? Yeah. More on SNL. Charlie XCS on SNL. Yeah, let's just call Deadline the SNL rag, whatever. Boston Blue has Kane world premiere. And Donnie Wahlberg is dreaming of a crossover movie with Blue Bloods. Isn't that a TV show? You're telling me he went to Con, and showed a TV show? It's weird. JC, there's a reason they shot Lincoln. Yes, there is. He was not a good guy, really. He was pretty ruthless as a politician, but I mean, he wasn't like Satan. Jesus, I'm glad to be here. I've been meaning to check out your screenwriting videos, but I haven't gotten the time. Hopefully I can change that this winter. Okay, yeah, if you got a question, just shout it out. Let's see. Toss that good boy a bone as IFC Thriller says stays in top 10 specialty box office. Okay, that's good, I guess. They're trying to push for the dog in the movie to get an Oscar, which, I mean, there's not a lot of animals in cinema anymore. I guess that's a category in the Oscars. So, sure, why not? It looks cool. Alex Ogle at Jesus, entering the stream like Obi-Wan entering a fight. Simu Liu and Marissa Barra-led Copenhagen test sets premiere date and drops teaser photos. I never liked Simu Liu. He's seems very arrogant to me. JC, like Rin Tin Tin? Yeah, I mean, like, there's. What competition is there in 2025? What other animals appeared in the movie? I can't even think of one. I mean, unless you count the cartoon animals in that one movie. But I don't think that counts. Adventure Time. Fiona and Cake unveils season 2. Jesus. All right. So they had Adventure Time, and then there was an alternate universe with with a where everybody was the opposite sex. So instead of Jake and Finn, it was Fiona and Cake. And then instead of the Bubblegum Princess, it was the Bubblegum Prince, and so forth. So that's kind of weird. Clint Miller's here. Oh my God, Rolando's here. Everybody's here. Jesus, Obi-Wan knows how to make an entrance. Rolando G. Hey, I know I'm late. So is it true, Tony D, that James Gunn will not be running the WBDCU anymore due to the buyout? Possibly if the buyout happens. That's the rumor that was broken apparently by Cosmic Book News. I read that part of that article yesterday. It seems like it would scan, and we talked about it earlier. Clint Miller, Limu Emu? Like an insurance ad? I guess so. I think he's like an insurance that people won't go see your movie. Ha! Now, he's just annoying. I don't like, the guy got into one movie and then he's, I don't know, crying he didn't get enough attention or something. Indie Phantom, Hollywood is choosing death over reversing woke ideology. Farewell, Gunn. I don't know. I mean, I think they see it as, we have all the money. They can turn on a dime, keep in mind. And they will. Someday they will. Indie Phantom, you won't be missed. They will turn on a dime when it suits them. And they will, in a large respect, gobble it back up. Because people are kind of sheep. Right? So, as bad as the Star Trek situation is, imagine, they finally get rid of Alex Kurtzman. And they finally purge themselves of all the woke BS. And then they just do a relaunch 2 years from now. Recast everybody, go back to the old Trek, and pretend like the other stuff just doesn't exist. And it's like, it's not based, but it's like normal Star Trek stuff. Could work. Maybe they go back and hire, I don't know, God forbid, some real authors. But it's going to be a long time before we purge a lot of the woke tards out of the business. They're just ensconced at every level of society. It's not just in Hollywood. They're all over the educational department. I mean, the NEA, this is the National something Association, Natural Education Association, I guess. That's like a teachers union. I think there are two. They put out, for some reason, now that keep in mind they're, I believe, a union for teachers. Like, so what's their job? Their job would be to, we got to make sure teachers get good salaries and get the things they need to teach children. Instead, they put out instructions, I think, to their union members, and they put out a map of Israel, except the map, the entire country was Palestine. They put that out. I believe it's a teachers union. It's like, how political, how Marxist must these guys be to do something like that? Pretty Marxist in my view. So it'll be years. And I hate to say this, but the Trump administration hasn't really made any moves to get rid of the teachers unions. And they need to go. Like, they need to be abolished, in my view. Just abolish the unions. Just say, no unions for teachers ever again. You want to work in teachers? You know, it's individuals. And then let the school hire whoever they want. And then that way, you know, you might say, well, you'll get these unqualified teachers. At this point, I think it's, you know, I think you could literally hire halfway smart people off the street and they'd be better than some of the teachers they have. Rolando G. I agree. Indie Phantom. Thank you. Farewell Gun. I never did like the guy. Can't stand the Guardians of the Galaxy. Wow. You're the first person I heard say that, actually. I have always liked the first movie. The second movie sucks. I didn't see the third movie. I kind of felt like, oh, he screwed up the second movie. I really don't want to put in the effort to see the third movie. I don't think he could save it. Indie Phantom, agreed. But yeah, until you purge all these woke tards, I mean, even if you purge them from Hollywood, you know, it's going to be a while. Fox Sports, Mark Sanchez booked into Marion County Jail following hospital release. So the story is something like Sanchez got drunk or something and got into a fight with some dude. And apparently the fight was really gritty because he put the guy in the hospital, but the guy stabbed Sanchez. And Sanchez is going to jail. The guy's in the hospital. He didn't get stabbed. Sanchez got stabbed. Like the guy was stabbing Sanchez, I guess, to defend himself at some point. Holy cow. I'm not sure what happened, but that sounds bad. Indie Phantom, I hated Guardians. Didn't see sequels. Alex Ogle, a teachers union is such a preposterous concept. It reminds me of the 1950s film I'm All Right, Jack, where Peter Sellers plays a union leader bargaining with Terry Thomas as boss. We do not and will not accept incompetence as a reason for dismissal. Yeah, I think all government union workers should be barred from entering in any kind of union because I think it's a conflict of interest. At least in New Jersey, what has happened is the unions here are so powerful, the government officials dare not cross them or they will lose a ton of money and support. So Chris Christie, our fat governor, who wasn't very good in my view, he did take on the unions. As a Republican, that's sort of an obligation here. And he got literally nowhere. And he was kind of ruthless as a governor. He got nowhere. And it got so bad, the rumor is that the snowplow guys, who I think double as the garbage guys, but I'm not sure, they stopped plowing the streets during a winter storm, and people died because their ambulance couldn't get the people, and they did not give an F apparently. Storebang, oh, I got to see that one, Alex. Jesus, when it comes to screenwriting or writing in general, how do you strike a balance as to put a bit of yourself in it, doing story structure and polishing and refining? I'm curious to know what you think. Alex at Storebang, well worth the watch. Well, naturally, some of yourself goes into anything you write, I think. You usually don't have to make a conscious decision to do that. But in terms of polishing and refining, for me, the process is just looking at it over and over again. That's like one of the things I do. I reread things a bunch of times while I'm editing and polishing. So, with screenplays and even with the Pineys, I read a lot of it aloud to myself and sort of hear how it sounds and then change it based on, this isn't quite the wording. So a lot of the Pineys sounds like me, especially the next book. The next book is narrated by one of the characters who sounds a lot like me. Spoilers. And you know, just reading it aloud is going to put your own spin on it. But you have to be careful of that too, that it's not too much like you, so that characters don't always sound like you. In the Pineys, to some extent, I can get away with it because they're all relatives and they all hang out with each other. And typically, as you hang out with people, your speech patterns start to bleed into one another, and that's a real thing. You can look it up. But in terms of writing a story, you need to have the characters sound distinct enough. So the goal isn't to put too much of yourself in it. That'll just sort of come naturally, I think. Now, for me, sometimes I do a character based on me. I've done that a bunch of times. But I often have a very specific angle for that. So I did it I did a comic book called The Fix back in early 2000s. It was sort of a 90s slacker character, and he was based on me, and I had a lot of fun with him. And then Hemingway was based on me, but I wanted him to be like a super version of me, like a super ultimate version of me, like the Captain America version of Tony. And so I sort of kicked everything up to 11 with Hemingway. But for other characters, you have to be very careful of that so it doesn't all sound the same. Storebang. We need more. It's a mad worlds, not including the 00 remake I didn't see. Yeah, that's Seth Green in it. Yeah, it's fun stuff. I mean, you probably could make It's a mad world now, I guess. But I don't know if Hollywood would actually hire everybody. You know, they're so weird now. It used to be like the stars were like, you know, when they did It's a mad world. Yeah, like you had the celebrities and you had the studios. And there's a lot of overlap there, but you know, they wanted to include all the celebrities in that movie, so they got everybody they could. Now it feels like if you did that, like if Disney did it, they would only put Disney guys in it. And just pretend like the other guys didn't exist. Alex Ogle, I don't know if screenwriting is like technical writing, but I do a fair bit of the latter. To make a document worthy of signing off, you have to read, reread, and send it out for comments and reread. It is your blueprint for the movie, so in that respect, it's technical. But you can't get too technical with it. You have to mostly focus on everything in a screenplay is dialogue driven. And even the descriptions have to be very short and punchy and snappy. Shane Black has a lot of good articles on this. He would write in sentence fragments, you know, kind of like descriptions you might see in a book if a character was really super busy and was just sort of rattling off things. So a description for like a Shane Black scene would be like exterior alleyway night, and that's a slug you always put at the top, something like that. Dark alley full of trash, man gets pushed down, looks up, is being attacked by two gangsters. Like, it's fragments, but it's just the words you need to describe the scene and sort of set the setting. Indie Phantom, self-insert Super Tony. Yeah, pretty much for Hemingway. Storebang, that movie is on my list. Storebang, no character actors anymore. That is true. There are very few of them. Some of them are still around, but now you hardly ever see them. Like, they're kind of hard to spot, I think. Indie Phantom, last one was kind of Rat Race, which had John Cleese and Whoopi Goldberg. I vaguely remember that one. Storebang, sounds fun, like Cannonball Run. I would love to see a remake of Cannonball Run now. That would be fun. But again, like, there's so many celebrities now that people kind of hate. So I don't know if anybody would go see the damn thing. Like when Burt Reynolds was around, everybody loved him. It's like, oh, Burt Reynolds movie. That'll be great. Jesus, I can relate, Alex. I have done essays in English and Spanish to keep consistent grammar, avoid run-on sentences, and reread if the paragraphs are sound. More on SNL. God, the coverage of SNL is ridiculous on Sunday. You'd think people were watching that show. Cosmic Book News. Donald Trump making Superman great again. What's going on there? We'll find out in a sec. Indie Phantom loved Cannonball Run. Those actors were fun. Not the case now. What's the name? Jackie Chan was in Cannonball Run. And nobody knew who the hell he was, but it was funny. Alex Ogle, damn it, I need a Cannonball Run pitch where it's all woke. What would that look like? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's think of that. Cannonball Run, but it's all woke. Each car has its own gender, right? Like each driver has a different gender. You could do that. There wouldn't be any hot women in it, right? They'd be all heavy. And you couldn't say anything about it. It wouldn't be funny. Would not be funny. And all the jokes would be about how bad Trump is. So get Stephen Colbert to write it. Perfect. And then there'd be a scene with dancing needles for the vaccine. And yeah, it pretty much writes itself, the woke version of that. Cannonball woke. Storebang. What's the prize? Oh. Puberty blockers. All the puberty blockers for life. Or, you know, the ultimate pronoun. Like there'd be some secret pronoun that no one can pronounce. Doctor Who writer declares the show is dead as we've ever seen it. Ain't that the truth? Alex Ogle, the cars are all electric and they have to drive between charging points. The film is mostly the cast being bored waiting for the cars to charge. That would be pretty funny. They like they never get across country. I think we're running out of charge. Again? That would be a funny one too, right? It spends like a half hour in a movie charging, and then he just passed us. We got to go now. And they take off, and they get just to the next charging station. Oh my God, we're almost out of charge. We have to stop. Indie Phantom. Sydney Sweeney was made to be one of the girls for Cannonball Run, non-woke edition. Yeah. Who are they talking about today? Sabrina Carpenter, maybe? Throw her in? I don't know. I'm sure you can find hot chicks. Hollywood used to crank out hot chicks. There were so many hot chicks in Hollywood, you couldn't believe your damn eyes. When I moved there, holy crap, I was walking, I think I told this story, but I was walking through a building that was full of producers and stuff, and there was some audition going on. And I saw this girl, I mean, like, stunning. Like, you know, out there, 6 foot tall blondes growing trees. But I was like, holy crap, I nearly walked right into a pillar in the building. And when I say pillar, this wasn't like a little pillar like this. This was one of those giant pillars like this wide. And I nearly walked right into it. She was so stunning. Alex Ogle, Cannonball Run ends with all the cars catching fire and everyone saying that electric cars are completely safe while chiding each other for not getting their alt pronouns right. What's that word? Their altus pronouns right. Indie Phantom, actually that flick would be an awesome remake. Revive the race. Make Paul Giamatti the nebbish guy who wants to stop the race. Paul Giamatti's in Starfleet Academy. I think it might be over for him. That's Starfleet. He's the bad guy in Starfleet Academy, by the way. Paul Giamatti. Alex Ogle. Latest. All right, chiding each other for not getting their latest pronoun right. Oh, okay. Marvel reveals massive 2026 lineup at NYCC. Wonder Man, Vision Quest, Daredevil, Born Again, X-Men 97, and Spider-Man Return. Okay. Mortal Kombat 2 featurette, released in New York. Marvel Cosmic Invasion game, releases free Steam demo at New York City Comic Con. Marvel drops first Wonder Man trailer at New York City Comic Con. It's not great. It's really boring in my view. Invincible Season 4 drops at New York City Comic Con. Lee Pace is Thrag. I didn't read enough of Invincible to know. Disney and Jared Leto's Tron Aries bombs at box office. COVID blame. There it is. There it is. Why don't you just blame the Black Plague while you're at it, Disney? Jesus. That was forever ago. Blames COVID. Yeah, you know. I don't think I could go see this movie. I got too much COVID. Like, what? What was the thinking? Alex Ogle. I'm a beer and a huge perfect Manhattan for the worse for wear. All right, here it is. Donald Trump making Superman great again. All right, let's look at this one. Indie Phantom, didn't know about Giamatti and Starfleet. What a loser. Yeah, I know. It's disappointing, too. He's really chewing up the scenery in it, too. All right, so how is Trump fixing Superman? All right. It all ties back to David Ellison and Skydance Paramount, who are making big moves in Hollywood. Ellison, son of billionaire Larry Ellison. And I'll stop there for a second. Larry Ellison made some comments about digital ID, which were very scary, I'll just say. Let's keep apprised of all the digital ID because they're trying to force it on the UK, and we definitely don't want it. Rolando G. No ask for Wonder Man. Sincerely, Marvel lost. I'm still down to see Avengers. Doomsday, though, looks interesting that RDJ will portray Doctor Doom. I don't know, man. They have 60 characters in it. I think it's going to be a big mess, but we'll see. Alex Ogle, Tron Ares misses projections due to audience not understanding digital pronouns. Yeah, okay, so anywho, David Ellison, son of billionaire Larry Ellison, wants to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes DC Studios, DC Comics, and iconic heroes Superman, Batman, and Justice League. Many insiders tell me that if Ellison buys WBD, James Gunn will be out of DC, and DC will get a full reboot. One meant to last. I hope they do it to the comics. Oh, I'd like... my dream. Let me say this for David Ellison. My dream is to fire everybody in comics. I mean, I would love to write some Batman. Don't get me wrong. You know, non-woke Batman. Hire me. But if you want me to do the dirty work of firing all those woke morons, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it with glee. I'll do it with a song in my heart. I will play jaunty music while I do it. And I'll be professional, but I'm going to be happy. So, and I'll fire James Gunn too if you need to. Sure. As a bonus. Why James Gunn's DCU is failing, with Superman reportedly bombing financially and Peacemaker Season 2 flopping. Insiders say Gunn knows his time is limited. That's why he's rushing to push out content and doing DC his way regardless of fan reaction. Gunn's DCU has been marked by divisive messaging and political themes, splitting the fan base. Meanwhile, WBD CEO David Zaslav reportedly only cares about making the company look good before the sale and securing his massive payout. Trump's role in Hollywood's power shift. Back in 2018, Gunn became a vocal critic of Trump on Twitter. Conservative users resurfaced his old tweets about grape and bad stuff to children, leading Disney to fire him from Marvel. Kevin Feige later brought Gunn back for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but by then Gunn had already landed at Warner Brothers to make Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Now, years later, Trump is indirectly shaping Gunn's fate again. Recent Skydance-Paramount merger, approved by Trump, positions Ellison's for a much larger media empire. Larry Ellison even joined Trump at the White House in January to announce Stargate, a $500 billion infrastructure AI investment. If the Ellisons buy $500 billion, Jesus. If the Ellisons buy Warner Brothers Discovery, Trump admin would likely support the deal. CBS, Barry Weiss, and the anti-woke shift. I don't know if it's all that anti-woke. Keep in mind that even though, for instance, J.K. Rowling is very much, as they say, a TERF, trans-exclusionary radical feminist, she's still a feminist. She's a feminist. I mean, they're making a bunch of woke changes to Harry Potter for the reboot. Now, it's not going to be, initially for the movies, she insisted on, I think, the casting and that everybody in the cast be English. That's not the metric this time. Although I will say John Lithgow looks pretty good as Dumbledore. It looks good in it. And he's a good actor. So, we'll see. Ellison now controls CBS, which recently settled a lawsuit with Trump for $16 million. So, here we go. This is the White House showing Trump as Superman. And here's the rumor, Mike DeLuca set to lead DC's reboot. So, that would be huge. DeLuca is a lifelong comic book fan and known for backing Blade, Man of Steel, and Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Describes himself as a diehard comic guy who knows cinema history and global trends. I mean, that could be good. Indie Phantom, Trump just owned Gunn. So, I would love to see Superman restored. I think it's freaking hilarious, this poster. But I don't know. It's still kind of just a rumor. Indie Phantom, Rowling is ultra woke, ridiculous. Yeah. So just because Barry Weiss is in there, I mean, she's not a communist. She clearly has drawn some lines, and that's good. She's going to try to be objective, I think. I don't think you'll get a total turnaround, but I think, it'll be much better. Rolando G, please get Mike DeLuca, yes. Yeah, he sounds great. Indie Phantom, didn't watch old Harry Potter, will not watch new. Yeah, it sounded woker. I mean, but again, I don't think there's going to be any trans people in it, but I don't know. I never liked Harry Potter. I'll just say it. It's okay. I can't call myself a fan. I don't want to read the books. They don't interest me at all. It just sounds boring. Like, I don't know. People get fascinated by Harry Potter. I'm not fascinated by Harry Potter at all. I'm not saying it's bad. People can like things, but it's not for me. Maybe I was just too old for it when it came out. More from the rap. Rolando G, I thought JK didn't like the Transformers. She doesn't like them in women's sports, yes. She considers herself a feminist, though. So when I say it's going to be woke, there ain't going to be any trans people in Harry Potter. But there'll be plenty of, they'll try to mix it up with DEI stuff. I think she'd be fine with the DEI stuff. She was a big proponent of immigration in the UK, even though it seems to be destroying the UK. So, here's more on Elliot Page and the Odysee. Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene slams Trump for prioritizing crypto donors over regular people. MTG has taken a weird turn if you follow Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was already kind of a weirdo to begin with, but she was a MAGA weirdo. So for a while she seemed to be okay. Now she's sort of gone off into an area I never suspected that she would do. I thought she'd be more of a loyalist. She seems to be criticizing Trump more and more. And now, of course, because she's doing that, she seems to be embraced by a lot of people who are on the other side of politics. So we'll see what happens there. The 7 best psychological thrillers on Prime Video in October. All right, let's take a look at this. This will be a fun list, I hope. Ooh, I'm seeing Gene Hackman. I'm already liking this list. Indie Phantom. I would like Superman to retire along with James Gunn and Ellen Pageboy. Rolando G. You're right. Never been a Harry Potter fan, Tony D. You're right. I saw the movies with my little sisters. It put me to sleep. I mean, they seem harmless enough. I could see it better as a TV show. All right, so The Third Man. Oh, I love The Third Man. That's a great movie. Watch that. It's way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its time. The ending on The Third Man, you're like, that's Orson Welles. It's so good. You watch that movie and you just wonder, like, how did movies not become amazing after this movie? Because he does things in this movie I'd never seen in a black and white movie, in terms of the plot and what happens. The Conversation, another classic movie with Gene Hackman, of course. Yeah, totally worth saying. Blowout. This is actually a remake of, I think the original is called Blow Up, if I'm not mistaken, which is a weird movie. I've seen both. This is pretty good. Blow Up is the original. Yeah, I like this one better, quite honestly. The original one is a little too, I don't know. It's got a weird ending. It's got one of these, what's the word? What do they call it? One of these weird, arty, pretentious endings. There's a word for it. I can't think of it off the top of my head now. Night of the Hunter, another classic. I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've ever seen it through the whole way, but this is the movie that I believe made what's his face? Robert Mitchum. Or Mitchum. Conclave? Really? I heard this is bad. Did anybody see this thing? I hear this ends with a trans person becoming pope or something. It sounds super crazy. It felt like that whole movie felt like Hollywood's version of what they'd like the Vatican to be if it aligned with all their crazy ideas. But Ralph Fiennes is a really good actor, but yeah, this sounded like totally bonkers ending. It doesn't deserve to be on this list, I don't think, at all. First off, it's way too new. You're talking about 7 classics that are running on, Conclave just came out last year. It's not even, is it even a year old? Now it's a classic? Come on. I don't think this thing I think it got Oscar nods, but I don't think it won anything, did it? 10 Cloverfield Lane? Again, not really a classic, but maybe? I hear goodish things about that. Indie Phantom, The Conversation is solid. Yeah, I hear goodish things about this movie. The Black Bag. Again, this just came out. And it didn't look good. Indie Phantom. Putter Media is just irritating. Yeah, Black Bag shouldn't be on this list either. And that's it. 7 best new movies streaming in Prime in October. Oh, that's another article. Okay, since I read it, I'll go over here. It's another list. This is all on Prime. Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, I like Bride of Frankenstein. Classic. Candyman 1992. I don't think it's that great. Indie Phantom, The Third Man was wicked good, isn't it? Oh, man. Screenwriters, you got to see The Third Man. It'll blow you away. Candyman did not blow me away. It's sort of... I like Tony Todd. He was a nice guy, but... Yeah, and Casino Royale. That's the only good Craig movie. That one's good. That one's pretty good. Aaron Brockovich. I don't think I saw this. I mean, it got a lot of play back in the day. Indie Phantom. Blowout is just loosely based on Blow Up, kind of inspired by. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've seen both, but I mean, yeah, the original one, Blow Up, is a weird ending. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yeah, they should call it Indiana Jones, the last indie movie ever made. Summer of Soul or When the Revolution could not be televised. I don't know what this is. I'll pass. The original West Side Story. Yeah, if you like musicals. I don't know why Steven Spielberg tried to remake this. I really don't. Indie Phantom. Conclave sounds Oscar woke. Super Oscar woke. I don't think it won any. I think it was nominated, though. All right, moving on. That Park Place. Mattel's Polly Pocket movie advances without Lena Dunham. That's probably for the best. I think most movies should advance without Lena Dunham being involved. She's really getting heavy, and I mean unhealthy heavy. I don't mind, you know, a little meat on them bones, but Lena Dunham's looking like she's bordering on obese now. She really should spend the money on a trainer. Indie Phantom. Hollywoke desperate for new classics. They certainly are. Here's John Lithgow as Dumbledore. I mean, he looks fine. He looks fine in a role. Looks like a wizard. Muppets appear in online videos for Rock and Roller Coaster overlay amid Muppet Vision 3D closure. I still don't know what Disney's doing. Finally, some of their rides are reopening, but meanwhile, they've raised the prices of some things. It sounds like a nightmare over in the parks. That's where all their money comes from. I don't know how they're surviving. I feel like they're trying to tank the company. And my idea was that they're probably... My thought is China's trying to tank the company to buy it. Because that would be the ultimate own culturally. Like if the Chinese moved in and bought Disney. I don't think Trump would allow it, though. Indie Phantom. Candyman is overrated. Yeah, I agree. It was okay for a slasher movie, but people call it a classic. I don't see it. See, here's Dan Rather calls Barry Weiss's appointment over at CBS News a dark day, as some compare it to Elon transforming Twitter. That sounds like, yes, let's do that. Indie Phantom. F. Aaron Brockovich. Back when Julia Roberts was still kind of hot. But can you imagine Dan Rather calling Barry Weiss's appointment over at CBS a dark day. Like his opinion matters. All right, let's wrap up with Breitbart. Schumer shutdown halts TRICARE medical payments for military families, jeopardizes care. Vance warns deeper cuts ahead for federal workers. Adios. But Dem senator admits give Trump credit for Gaza peace deal. Yeah, I mean, how long has it taken just to get... I mean, like, what will Trump have to do next to just get some credit from the other side of the aisle? Would he have to actually, like, I don't know, achieve world peace and give everybody $1 million? Would that do it? Would that... later today, Trump handed everybody $1 million as world peace flourished throughout the globe. What, would he have to conquer Mars? Like, what's it going to take for you to just acknowledge the guy? I mean, I didn't think he would do this good. I didn't think there was any chance Trump was this good at it. Indie Phantom, Spielberg is so freaking woke now. He did that flick about the Washington Post. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I don't think anybody saw it. Brutal end for pro-Hamas influencer Mr. FAFO killed by Gaza rivals. Oof. The big thing that's happening next week is there's going to be a No Kings protest with Trump, against Trump. It's just a general protest against Trump now. It doesn't even have a purpose other than we hate Trump, I guess. But it's No Kings. And then, you know, it's supposed to be, oh, Trump thinks he's a king and that's why we're protesting. I see zero evidence of that. But that's what's happening next Saturday. Fortunately, I'll be deep in the pines at the Cranberry Fest, and I expect to hear none of that until I get out. And what else? Anything else on this? All right, moving on to the entertainment. Oh, yeah, more on Chappell Rowan. I don't even know who this woman is. John Legend backs Trump for 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. So even John Legend, he's no friend of Trump. Even he acknowledges it. What else? Indie Phantom, Dan Rather, LOL. LOL indeed. Christian megastar Forrest Frank refuses to attend award shows. All glory to Jesus. Okay. Family Matters star Darius McCary arrested near U.S.-Mexico border on a felony charge. That sounds kind of serious. And I think Jimmy Kimmel like doubled down on the Charlie Kirk comments somehow. Like, I don't know why. Guess a desperation to get more ratings. And Bret Easton Ellis, who I believe wrote... What's the movie with Christian Bale? Oh, gosh. Oh, the one where he kills everybody. I can't think of it. Anyhow, Bret Easton Ellis. Critics praise one battle after another because it aligns with this kind of leftist sensibility. What the hell was his novel? Now I can't think of the damn movie. American Psycho. God dang it. I hate when I can't think of such obvious things. Yeah, so even, you know, Bret Easton Ellis called it out. I guess he's based. Depending on who you talk to, director Paul Thomas Anderson's latest epic, One Battle After Another, is either an unparalleled masterpiece worthy of an Oscar sweep, or a pro-Antifa screed that endorses left-wing revolutionary violence. Acclaimed author Bret Easton Ellis thinks it all comes down to the audience's personal politics. Oh, and he was doing his own podcast, of course. He did not hold back. Indie Phantom, they will maybe speak well of Trump at his funeral. Oh, I think they'll start speaking well of Trump after he leaves office. Because they did this with Bush, right? They rehabilitated Bush. They started saying, well, you know, Bush was pretty good compared to Trump. Now, then they'll say, oh, Trump was good. Trump did this. They'll actually be able to cite stuff too, right? Like if, you know, it's going to be impossible if J.D. Vance gets elected, for instance, for him to make leaps and bounds of the economy. Indie Phantom, no kings, LOL, I saw that. Right? Like when the economy's down here and then you bring it back to kind of normal, it's like a giant step up, right? But then when the economy's back to normal and you're trying to bring it up further, it gets harder and harder to do. So likely, let's just say J.D. Vance wins in a landslide in 2028, and the economy with 4 more years of Trump will probably be roaring ahead. Let's just assume that's the case. So now you got an economy, let's say you got GDP growth, you got real wage growth, prices are going down. Like, now it gets tough to make improvements that are even noticeable, right? So let's say Trump, by the end of his term, gets gas down to about $1, right? Like we got so much gas now, it's ridiculous. Like gas goes back down to $1. Like you can go to McDonald's and get a whole meal for $5. Like it's just ridiculous. And like, yeah. And then J.D. Vance comes in. Indie Phantom, family really matters. J.D. Vance comes in and it's like, holy crap, how can I make this even better? Like he can't make gas free. He might be able to do some more stuff, get gas down a couple of cents. You know, at that point, I mean, you get it back down to $1. That's about as low as you can probably get it to go. You know, let's say, you know, I mean, the kind of stuff you would have to do. Indie Phantom, American Psycho. Slowly you're catching up. I guess we're in a big lag. But like, you know, at some point, after the stuff Trump has done, the only thing J.D. Vance could do would be, for instance, to somehow reback the American dollar with some kind of commodity, maybe gold, but probably in multiple things, as Ron Paul suggested once. Alex Ogle, get us back to 10 cents per beer. Well, see, that's the thing. If gas goes down, all the other prices should slowly start to follow. Indie Phantom, he had a decent podcast before. Oh, I didn't know that. I might have to try to catch that. But if you already got gas down to $1 and a lot of the other prices drop, it's going to be harder and harder. So how do you make a big splash if you're president and you're following up Trump? And in fact, some of the prices might creep back up because that's just sort of the ebb and flow of it. And then, you know, it may not be he's doing a bad job, but it just may look bad. So it could be the next guy is going to have a really tough act to follow, I think, especially on the economy. And really, some of the stuff may be the kinds of things that Trump initiates, but can only do so much during his term. And then the next guy really has to continue that. And hopefully, you know, a guy, if it's J.D. Vance, he would continue those. But he might be tempted to try something else simply because he needs to get credit for doing something. And if it's a different guy, who knows what will happen, right? If, God forbid you get another, you know, you get a Gavin Newsom in there. Oh, we're so effed. We'd be so effed in the A. But we'll see what happens. I mean, right now I'm looking forward to the golden age. I think we may be there. I mean, assuming the next 2 days go well. I hope it does. Hope there's no problems with the hostage turnover. And we should be, I think, at the beginning of the golden age. I think that would be a good sign. that things are going well. Prices for gas, they come down a little near me. Not much. Occasionally it dips below 280 near me. It comes down to about 283, I think was the lowest I recently saw. It's hovering between like 283 and like 303, depending on where you are in New Jersey. And generally we have cheap gas here. I think just because we have so many cars, would be my guess. I don't know any other reason other than we're buying so much of it. Indie Phantom, I produce free gas daily. I do too. Oh, I forgot to shout out to the girlfriend for making me chili. That was pretty awesome. If you're still watching, baby. But I think you're asleep by now. She made chili. We had guacamole and chips. Oh, it was good. It was a good time. It was a good time. All right. I got to wrap this up because it's been 3 hours and I have to go to the bathroom again. All right. What have we learned today? Well, we learned that one battle after another, probably a bunch of commie bullcrap. We learned the Oscars don't matter. A lot of stuff doesn't matter anymore in Hollywood. Indie Phantom, yeah, I just realized I was about 4 minutes behind on this. Alex Ogle, J.D. Vance would have to purposely lose the next election to allow a Dem to screw it all up. The headlines will be glowing. 764 genders recognized as economy booms, then someone competent must come in. Indie Phantom, we learned that Tron is the suck. Yes. Yes, we did. And really everything else is sucking too. I mean, there's really not one movie on here that's really worth much. It's either not doing well enough to notice, and the few movies that seem kind of interesting and weird, like Good Boy, like, you know, they're struggling. I think they're just getting out of movies. I really do think that these movie studios are just trying to slowly get out of movies because they're just not making any money. You know, they're dumping everything into their streaming platforms, and the streaming platform stuff isn't much better. You know, there's stuff that pops up there all the time. There's just so much of it. You couldn't possibly watch it all. Although my girlfriend is attempting to. It's quite amazing the amount of stuff she watches. I go to her place and she's like, oh, I watch this and this and this. I'm like, how do you have the time? I can't watch it all. Because, see, I have to watch it. She, like, puts it on and then, like, cleans. See, I have to watch it. But, what else did we learn? I forgot all the things we've learned already. No, and mostly about Tron. Oh, Diane Keaton died. Barry Weiss is not a commie. And James Gunn may be out of a job. I think that basically sums it up. And we may be in for the golden age. Possibly at DC Comics. Where, again, David Ellison, I could handle Batman. Now, if you don't want to give me Batman, my second choice would be the worst comic DC has, the lowest selling comic you have that you won't cancel. So I'll take Wonder Woman. I'll take one for the team, and I'll make it the greatest comic. I'll sell 1 million copies of an issue. But you're going to have to adjust the prices a little bit because your prices are out of control. Out of control if you want people to buy comics. We'll have a lot to talk about. Also, if you want to do the Pineys, you know, read my books. All right, going to wrap up here. Please hit the like button before you go. Check out the Pineys. Next week, I will be doing the Cranberry Fest from 9 to 4 both days. So I will be home for the live stream, but I may be pretty fried. So forgive me if I'm completely out of it. Hopefully I'll have money sticking out of my pockets because I'm hoping to do well there. Indie Phantom was watching a film from '84 called Weekend Pass, which actually had a theatrical. Bunch of sailors live it up on break in LA, 4 minutes, and they enter first strip joint. Ah, the 80s. How I miss it. Alex Ogle. Ah, Tony. Barry Weiss is not a complete comic. Indie Phantom. Take care, all. Take care, everybody. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a great week, Tony and all.